Test, test. Hello, hello. Welcome. I knew I forgot something. 1 second. Let me get the actual window up here. There we go. Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. It's good to see you, Saria. Good to see you, Shinigami. Hope your weekend is going well as well. Welcome, everyone, to another issue of a real, actual bird yaps for 3 or 4 hours about Naruto Databooks. If you are starting this series off with this, well, first of all, welcome. Let me state very quickly what my goal is and what this series will be about. So basically, there within the Naruto power scaling community, there's a certain amount of confusion from my perspective about what the data books are and how they're meant to be used. With a lot of the, in my opinion, confused and like the most out of pocket takes about Naruto, like Naruto characters being light speed, Naruto characters being planetary or more like universal solar system stuff like that. Higher end tier. Um, let me clarify that, that real quick. So, uh, I'm sorry, 1 second, 1 second. I got a message that totally threw me off. Okay, starting over. Welcome. Hope you guys, hope you guys are doing well. Off to a smooth start as usual. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the Naruto data books. As you can see, I've got Databook 1 right here with me, the original Japanese hard copy, and then we're also on Narutoversity, and we're going to be going through the Jutsu files for the first data book. Why talk about this? What even is a data book? Why does this matter? Well, if you're new to the series, you're just joining us for the first time on this series of streams, welcome. Thank you so much for checking it out. By way of introduction and explanation of what I'm trying to do here, there are a lot of takes that have come out of this community over the past few years that are what I would consider to be highballs that come out of, let's just say, confusion or very creative misinterpretation of the source material. And essentially, it comes from confusion over what the databooks are and how they are meant to be used. And I understand the confusion, right? It's these databooks have not been sources that have been widely available for many years. In the early days, the formative days of the like recent wave of Naruto YouTube content, maybe going back like 8 or 9 years or so, to the heyday of folks like Swag Kage, just kind of you know setting the new trend of the YouTube Naruto power scaling conversation, so to speak. Going back then, the data books were sort of a niche thing that not everybody was really familiar with, that weren't being as widely discussed, and as such, I think that there was a little naivete, which is understandable in terms of how to approach them, how to understand them, and this has led to some misunderstandings, and I'm trying to clear those up. Essentially, the data books themselves are useful resources. They're interesting, they're fun, and I would encourage anybody who's interested in Naruto, whether you be a power scaler or like a fan who's not interested in that, just like somebody who likes the comics in any regard, consider reading them, because in addition to just being like very cool to physically have and hold, they have a lot of really interesting pieces of information, a lot of interesting facts. They have a lot of things that are summarized and explained and broken down very clearly in ways that might be a little bit opaque if you're just reading the story alone. They also do tend to expand a little bit on the narratives of characters. There's also bonus features that are included, like prototypical designs and explanations for the design direction that Kishimoto chose to use for whatever reason, as well as like some of them will even have guides as to like how to draw certain characters and whatnot. That being said, the databooks themselves use a variety of different types of language. So if you're going to use them for power scaling purposes, you need to be aware that it's not necessarily safe or reliable to take any given statement literally. So for example, common mistake I see people making is they'll say, well, Gamma Bunta. Gamma Bunta has an entry in one of the jutsu files that says, or one of the character profiles that says, he grows to be as tall as a mountain. Okay, so it's safe to assume that Gamma Bunta is at least 600 meters tall, right? Because the average height of a mountain in the real world is like 600 meters or 3.6 kilometers, depending on who you ask. Let's just go with a low ball and let's say that he's at least 600 meters tall. If you actually want to know how the fuck tall Gamabunta is, you should probably not take that literally. You should probably look in the manga and check out his actual like size scaling, compare him to other characters whose height values that we do actually know about, and stuff like that, right? it's not necessarily going to give you an accurate representation of the characters to just take things literally all the time. As well as if you then try to say, well, he's mountain level, you try to slot in a power scaling specific term, then things are going to get a little wonky, right? Because the terms that we use for power scaling is defined by places like VSBW, CSAP, all that. Comic Vine now, I guess, is a popular one as well. They're not necessarily going to be calibrated the same way that the Databook terms are. So if you want to use these Databooks to learn about Naruto and you want to use them for power scaling, I think you should. I think there's tons of useful information. I think that you're going to have fun, you're going to learn something, and it's going to benefit you to spend some time reading through these. Just be aware that unless you commit to reading through at least one section of one of the databooks, if not an entire databook, ideally multiple databooks, but unless you read like a good chunk of them, you're not really going to get the full context for what they are, how they're formatted, how they're presented, and without that, it's really difficult to like. I don't think it's fair to say that you can make a declarative statement about whether or not the figures and facts in them are to be taken literally. The context about them and around them is nuanced. We shouldn't throw them out because there are some goofy statements. We shouldn't also accept everything they say just because they're written by Kishimoto or whatever. It's nuanced. So what I want to do with this series of videos, while I'm working on a longer, more edited form of the data book, of the video explanation, is I want to go through and just read some of these data books together on stream. I want to stop and talk about the nature of the text that's being used, the style of language that's being used. I want us to have a discussion about, you know, if we are skeptical of certain things being true, if we accept certain other things as being true or false or whatever, why are we coming to those conclusions? Why are those conclusions reasonable? How are we calibrating our understanding of the source material? Rather than debunking anything or trying to instill a specific perspective in any of you guys, I really just want to give you the tools to be able to come to these conclusions on your own. I have my own opinions, for sure. I feel like I've earned them through studying these data books carefully, but they're my opinions or my perspectives. I'm not here to dictate them to you. I just want whoever is finding this, I want you to understand what this material is and how to use it, and then you can go about your own way and come to your own conclusions. Like I that's what I want. I want other people to do their own analyses and figure shit out on their own too. That being said, I do have hard copies of all of the Japanese versions of the data books, as well as the first Japanese fan book. I don't think my second fan book has arrived yet, but it's on the way. I did also want to do a tiny bit of show and tell here because I've been looking for this scan about Kaguya for a long time now. Hang on a second. And then I will get to chat. I see you guys there. Hello, the Slimy Orb. It's good to see you again. Hope you are doing well. Right, so if you've engaged at all in like the universal, multiversal Naruto discussions, in any capacity, I'm sure you've seen this scan over here of this page from some fucking thing that says that, you know, Kaguya translocates, dislocates, transposes dimensions and shit like that, right? People use this to try to argue that Kaguya is universal because they interpret this as her pushing the entire Naruto universe out of the way. Obviously, I don't agree with that. We can talk about that if you want, but I think you guys have probably heard me complain about that enough at this point. But I really want to know where this is from, and I've been searching for it. And so far, no luck. But according to ChatGPT, it was supposed to be from the Weekly Shonen Jump. So I thought this was going to take a couple months to get here. Thankfully, I got lucky and it only took a week. But I got a copy of Weekly Shonen Jump. And for anybody who's not familiar with this, let me bring the camera up a little bit. Yeah. Anybody who's not familiar with this, manga like Naruto and JJK, My Hero Academia, are published in a weekly recurring anthology that comes out in Japan called Weekly Shonen Jump, WSJ. It's actually really, really cool. I can't flip through all of it on stream because there is some like ecchi content, so to speak. But essentially, you have a weekly publication in, you know, big, large, chunky pages of a variety of different manga. Very fun, very nice format. The image quality is a little sketchy. It feels a little bit washed out or something. But that being said, it's still really cool to have one of these. So if you guys are curious, this is issue number, what is it? It's from 2019, I think, number 8, right? Yeah, so number 9. You can kind of see that on the spine there. Number 9 from 2019. Sorry, let me get this in the camera. 2019. And this has an episode of Boruto in it, or an issue of Boruto. Gotta be careful not to show certain pages, because unfortunately there's more raunchy stuff in here than I expected. But you've probably seen an orange formatted page like this, talking about the last and stuff like that. This is where it comes from. Comes from Weekly Shonen Jump. I don't have that issue specifically yet, but I'm gonna try to get my hands on it as well. But as you can see, there's advertisements for different things. There's like cooking recipes. It's kind of fun. It's kind of lighthearted. Here's a page on Naruto. There's promotional material for upcoming Boruto things. Some of the stuff is kind of fun and jokey. Others is like more promotional material. So it's cool. It's really cool to be able to have this, physical thing. I just kind of wanted to show it off, honestly. But I was looking specifically for the Boruto directory, and although there is I can't show that one. There is a copy of Boruto somewhere in here, or like an issue of Boruto somewhere in here. Unfortunately, it didn't come with the fucking ninja directory. So thanks for nothing, ChatGPT. Fuck you, Elon Musk. I blame you directly for this tragedy. Anyway, I'm gonna keep looking for it. But if anyone out there happens to see this and knows where this is from and can send me a specific page number and issue number, I will buy this. I will get it, and I will upload it and share it with everybody. Sage said that he has a collection of the Weekly Shonen or the V Jumps that he's willing to share with me. So as long as he's comfortable with me, distributing that, I will share that on stream as well. But regardless, I want a physical copy. I want to own this, and I'm happy to then share it once I do have my own copy. Here's an example of what Boruto looks like in the Weekly Shonen Jump, right? So we've got the advertisement page for whatever upcoming shit this is. I can't read this, sorry. But then on the left, we actually have the chapters. And it's kind of cool to get them not only in hard copy, but to see them kind of blown out like this in a larger format, despite the fact that the inking, you can kind of see that the inking is a little sketchy due to the way it's printed. But it's still really cool. And there's stuff in the margins over here as well. So if you're looking for information about Boruto stuff, you can kind of see there's a lot of little things that are kind of hidden there. Might be fun to check out. In addition, I've also recently gotten my hands on a couple of interesting things. This novel, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't remember what the title of it is or whatever, but I have it. I think it's a novelization of something from of one of the movies. But I don't recognize the stills, so it might actually be a novelization of an anime filler arc, actually, that I haven't seen, which is why I don't recognize them. But I'm going to try and get scans of those uploaded to share with people. I also have the, whatchamacallit, this is the promotional, I think it's called Zaino Show or something like that. It's the promotional guide that went along with the movie. There's a short manga in here that I don't think is actually included in the main manga, right? But there's some interesting stuff over here. There's character profiles, and there is some stuff that might be useful for Powerscalers. I'm not sure because I haven't translated it yet. But in addition to having cool information like the breakdown of how the gauntlets and work and stuff, we have this information on Kinshiki, I think, and on Momoshiki. Nothing on Kaguya. I think it's more about like their design, like why they were designed the way that they were, as opposed to like a whole lot of lore info. You can kind of see the early sketches here of Kinshiki, Momoshiki, and other characters as well. Some more promotional material, some advertisements and stuff. So again, like if you're looking, and then like a color print of the first issue of Boruto, which is nice to have as well. Or sorry, it's actually chapter 700, but I guess you can technically say it is part of Boruto. Yeah, so I have a few more things here. I think I'm kind of done with show and tell, honestly, but let me just double check. There's also this, like the guide for the last that I picked up recently, and this has some stuff in here. I haven't translated this yet, but it's kind of like the same thing, a mixture of sketches and information. And if anybody wants help like locating like where any of this stuff is the Kaguya scan actually in here? No, there's no way. It's from later in Boruto. It's like chapter 35 of Boruto. Anyway, if you guys are curious about what's in here, I can try to get some of this stuff translated. That being said, yeah, I think we're just going to get started with the stream. That's a good question. Yeah, Boruto Chapter 0. There's a good question, Slimy Orb. I think I actually have the Land of Waves separately. It's this one here? No, this is what I just showed you. somewhere on my shelf I have the English and the Japanese Land of Waves. It has a different color cover to it. Sorry, and that's actually just a more straightforward, um, straightforward summarization of what happens in that arc in the manga. Right. So that being said, let me catch up on chat and then we'll get started with the analysis. Today we're going to focus specifically on the Jutsu entries, but of course, as usual, if y'all want to jump around and talk about other things, that's cool. The purpose of this stream, as usual, is mostly just to have an excuse to talk about Naruto, and this is my suggested topic, but you know, we can kind of talk about whatever. So I see Saria has enhanced her ritual. Fantastic. Like the little volcano. That's cool. His hat was number one. Excellent. Does the volcano represent how you feel about the fucking about the Avatar community, like blowing your mind with all their their nonsense? Of course, Smitty Verben Jägermann Jensen makes an appearance. Nice to see. Hello there, Shinigami. Here to draw and have some people to chill with. Yeah, rad, dude. I feel like I've seen you in a couple other streams, like maybe on Abstract or Captain Cat or somebody like that, where you shown up. Or oh no, maybe it was Eon, right? Elion, where you were drawing. So yeah, keep up the good work. I appreciate you sending me your progress. It's really cool. Shinigami says, because I'd rather be here than alone in my thoughts as I think about how people on the internet treat morality as some wishy-washy concept. Interesting. So, I actually have pretty strong thoughts about morality. It's one of the few topics that I want to maybe focused on isn't exactly the right phrasing for it. But you know, back when I was more active in the atheist community and when I was talking about like debating people on stuff, that was one of the things that I was particularly interested in because it's such a fundamental part of the human experience, right? From my perspective, it's one of those things where I almost wish that I believed in some sort of objective source of morality because it would make things so much easier. You know what I mean? It's like being able to point to like an objective source of morals and codes and truths and say like, okay, we know for a fact that despite all the chaos in the world, despite everything going wrong, we know and we never have to doubt that these things are true. I think that they are, and that if we do these things, we will be doing the right thing. That's such a valuable notion. And unfortunately, since I don't believe that that's the case, the challenge that we're presented with as a species, as a human society, in coming up with a correct moral system despite not having that starter kit, so to speak, is monumental, and it affects all of us. So I'd be happy to talk about that at some point. I don't know if we'll spend much time on it tonight, but for sure, like we can. I've been thinking of having like a more philosophy-oriented stream at some point, or just like a general banter debate, open discussion. That'd be kind of fun. So if you're interested, I'd be happy to talk more about that at some point. Intelligence across fictional characters. Yeah, that does sound more fun, honestly. You'd wonder on John's reaction when he finds out my main character, Red High Guy's Thor's... Oh, interesting. Thor's incarnation, according to Grok, based on feats of superior to Naruto and Sasuke. I think you mentioned that. I don't know if it was Grok specifically, but you did mention that you, like, ran their intelligence... you compared their intelligence to the intelligence of your character. I think that's great. Honestly, I guess I'm very, like, utilitarian or practical in terms of character design. Um, I think that when I'm designing stuff, I tend to think of what are the overall design pillars, like what are the most important parts of the experience that I want to try to create for the audience, and then I design around that. So if I wanted to make a horror game, for example, um, and I needed to think about the protagonist, I probably, unless I was doing like a horror action game, I probably would make the main character kind of a schlub, like one of the protagonists from the Silent Hill games, as opposed to like a grizzled, hardened veteran or whatever. Because having a character who's a little bit more vulnerable, who's a little bit more normal, more commonplace, might make it easier for the characters, for the players to kind of project themselves into that experience and feel a little bit more vulnerable, right? Not saying you can't have fully trained like military personnel in a video game and have that still be scary. I mean, Fear, like First Encounter Assault Recon, is a great example of that, where you are like a special elite soldier with machine guns and shit like that. But it's a fucking really scary game, or at least it was for its time, right? You just have to balance it correctly. But if I were trying to decide the intelligence of my character for that environment, really I would just say, okay, well, how smart should they be in terms of navigating their environment? Like, is their intelligence going to contradict their naivete? Do I want them to be a little bit more naive, a little bit more, bumbling, so to speak, and then kind of let that lead me. Of course, you don't have to. You might decide you specifically want to tell a story about a genius, and so you craft the narrative pillars around the idea of a genius character, right? So it's entirely subjective. However you decide to do it, I hope you, as long as you feel proud of the characters that you're making and passionate about them, I think that's a victory, right? I did see the intelligence feats. I haven't gotten a chance to read through them all, mostly just because I've been managing my schedule poorly. I think I mentioned basically the game that I'm working on is like we're getting kicked off the project essentially in a month, and so we have, technically speaking, I can wrap up most of the work that I have to do in the next 3 or 4 days. But if I do that, then they'll say, "Oh, okay, I guess you're done, so leave," because I'm a contractor, right? The thing is, there are things that I want to do that I don't have official approval for yet, but if I don't do them, then they're never going to get done. So I'm essentially, on the surface, taking a little bit longer than I need to, but under the surface, I'm trying to work overtime and trying to put in extra hours because I want to get the shit out. It's little things, but they're important to me. So, for example, just to use a purely hypothetical example that has nothing to do with the project that I'm working on, let's say hypothetically that it was a first-person shooter and you fired your guns and the shell casings that fell out of the guns didn't make a sound. That would be kind of weird, right? In every fucking game in the world these days, the shell casings come out, they ricochet off, or they bounce off of a surface. They'll play a sound that's specific to the surface that they bounced off of. It would be kind of crappy if a modern shooter came out and didn't have that tech hooked up when they were doing it 30 years ago. And it certainly would be nice if somebody were to find a way to get that in, and especially if it hasn't gotten any traction or gotten any resources behind it. You could see what I'm saying, right? Like, supposing there were a feature of that nature, it's gonna ultimately come down to people being willing to try to get that shit in before the deadline. Otherwise, it's just not going to make it in. It's going to be up to some modder to fix it. So, I am perhaps being a little too unhealthy about my screen time and about my work time. I'm not really working on the edited video for the Databooks because if I can just focus turbo mode for the next couple of weeks at work, then I will be like essentially on a mini sabbatical after that, and then I can kind of focus on my own projects. So, sorry in advance if my communication is kind of slow in the meantime. It's nothing personal, I promise. It's just me being bad at managing my schedule, as usual. So, Saria keeps getting number 1 because Saria is the reigning champion. Saria has been here for, I think, like a year. We should probably celebrate like a stream birthday type thing at some point for when you joined up. But yeah, Saria's been here for a while, been listening to me yap for about a year, and has maintained her dominance over her sovereign reign over the chat. So she has been temporarily dethroned from time to time, but you know, it's going to be a tough, a steep incline to get up there if you want to push her off, and she'll get it back, I promise. But yeah, I keep wondering whether I should just turn the feature off, but as long as you guys are enjoying it, I'll keep it on there. It's time to power scale. Yeah, my favorite part of Naruto's whole character arc is when he looked directly at the camera after defeating Zabuza and said, "It's Naruto time." God, I can't even say it with a straight face. Man, I really wish they had just like done another theatrical cut of Morbius and made him say that, like, just for the sake of the meme. The better Birdman. Oh yeah, you don't get along with the Birdman, huh? The God of Death is here to read people's souls. It's time to power scale. Not more than the dedication, our defense have the reverse. Or just like the obsession, the incessant refusal to ever let go of something I'm vaguely interested in. If you ever get tired of my yapping, so to speak, you can blame. But actually, no, that doesn't sound right. To rephrase what I was going to say, like, the way that my brain works is that if I notice something out of out of order that I feel very passionate about, I'm going to have a very difficult time letting it go, and I'm going to need to pursue resolution. And some people might find this very annoying and obnoxious, and I promise that I don't intend it to ever be like combative or hostile. I will acknowledge that in certain relationships that I've had, including with family members, like um, it can be overbearing, but that I feel is a double-edged sword. The positive edge of the sword is that it leads to me like better understanding things and getting to really dive into things with a sense of passion. Obsession, yes, but it's an obsession that comes out of passion. So hopefully that comes across. Hopefully it comes across as like sincerity as opposed to just like addiction. um, Elon has freaking grok. Elon is a butt. that's that's the extent of my intellectualism tonight, is saying Elon is a butt. Really don't like that motherfucker at all. Anything that he touches turns to ash, and the sooner he retires to a private little island to pay Chinese kids to play video games for him and nothing else, the better off we'll all be, in my opinion. You're focused on your drawing. Yeah, you should. Absolutely. It's really cool to see your work and your progress, and I think that like art tends to, if not require, it tends to benefit from a certain amount of healthy obsession. I know I can get that way when I'm working on a project. It's just like the rest of the world kind of fades away. Not literally, of course. It's just like I kind of love that, honestly. That's kind of what I'm doing at work right now, just putting myself into that mindset of like, okay, this is going to be my focus. I'm going to push really hard on this and see as far as I can go, and then maybe burn myself out a little, maybe be a little bit unhealthy, and then recover from it afterwards. So don't do what I do. Like, do something that's a little bit more balanced. But yeah, I'm trying to say that I can relate to you. I can sympathize with your approach for sure. Oh, you were on Eon's stream. Yeah, yeah. I've really been liking his streams. I don't really know anything about One Piece, so there's not as much as I can contribute there. But he's a super chill dude. I love the fact that he's been like policing, or I guess a better way to say it would be curating his community by discouraging toxicity and hostility. He might even be a little a little extreme in that regard. In that, like, I would probably be more lenient. But I much prefer erring on the side of being like support, like being strict if it means supporting like a healthy, productive community. So kudos to Eon. The mini debates that I did on his server were super fun. I would really love to do more of those in the future as well. Let's see. Us humans aren't capable of this kind of morality. Well, not like the pure objective thing. I don't think so. So I think we have to like try to do our best despite that. It's more on this idea that on the internet people kind of treat morality in black and white. I suppose. Oh yeah, sure. One moment something is the worst idea ever, but then try to justify it when convenient. Yeah, I definitely. Well, I think I understand where you're coming from there. It seems familiar to some of the stuff I've encountered in my life for sure. You can pick whichever subject on these things, but it's always wishy-washy with the internet. Yeah, the internet is a well, depending on what part of the internet you're on, it can absolutely be like a nightmare navigating through some of the conversations, right? Now, this is always the case, but yeah. Oh, hey there, Saria. Hello again. Saria says, I'm here, but I'm also on Twitch because I'm a mod for a friend's stream, so I won't be as active. Yeah, no worries, dude. It's always good to have you. Obviously, no pressure. And if you feel like chiming in, feel free. If not, if you just want to chill or you have other things to focus on, no problem at all. I hope you have fun. Shinigami says, I wrote my main character on the idea that he pushes the plot. It's on the same basis of Ichigo, Light, and Malter. Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great approach. Oh, you got a 50-person raid. Goddamn. Well, congrats. Have fun with that. I hope it goes well. Hey, Epsilon, it's good to see you again. Hope you're having a good weekend. Saria says, he said it's fun. Shinigami says he has a very intense sense of justice and curiosity, so he pushes the plot in unpredictable directions because of these qualities. However, because of that, he finds himself in terrible situations. Because for him, he is aware of injustice and bro would never look away from it. He would rather risk his life than just leave it be. Yeah, I think that sounds like a very compelling setup for a protagonist. Be very curious to see where you go with it. The slimy orb is gonna steal number one. You're already at number two. You positioned yourself quite well. In the comics, someone did say it's Morbentine to him, and he hated it. Oh shit! Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad that meme has kind of come around full circle. Shinigami says, if I were ever to get tired of yapping, I would be one of the last people to say it because I yap so much for whatever I love. Some people find it annoying too. Yeah, no worries, dude. I think we can just sympathize with each other on that. Um, so far, I just want to express again that I'm very grateful. It's kind of surreal that I can go onto the internet and be like Naruto this, Naruto that for fucking 5 hours, and there will still be people here chiming in and participating. It's really fucking cool, especially having grown up like when I was younger with Naruto being pretty stigmatized and not really being like the cool thing. Like no, like I mentioned before, like pretty much nobody in my school was into it, and you were just like if you weren't into Dragon Ball, then like that's the only thing you could get away with in terms of being a nerd. Dragon Ball and Star Wars. So now it's like, wow, this is fucking cool. I'm just glad to have people to talk to about it. Hey there, Dr. Strangle. Hope you're doing well. Dr. Strangle says, stopping by for a quick hello. Hope you have a great stream. Might be back later. Yeah, no worries, dude. It's always good to see you. I'm gonna probably be going until like 9:30 p.m. EST. Not feeling super great, so I probably won't be like a huge marathon. But of course, the VOD is always up, and or will be up after the stream, and I'm around on Discord as well. Although albeit somewhat slowly this week as I try to get through this work crunch. Shinigami says sometimes I love drawing with horror stories playing in the background, especially Fears to Fathom. Oh, cool. You might enjoy. I don't know. Actually, it's maybe. So I'll check in with my partner later. My partner is kind of addicted to like horror podcasts where I guess like the typical example is Welcome to Night Vale, but there's a lot of other stuff that she's been listening to that's quite more like not more extreme per se, but like something like that, like a little bit darker, a little bit more harrowing. And so you get like these 1 hour long episodic radio plays that come out once a month or once a week even. They're super super fun. Probably like that. And then when I'm in a mood for spooky stuff, I have an anthology of H.P. Lovecraft's works, and so I like to listen to those like on long night drives or rainy days. It's mixed though because like Lovecraft was kind of a fucking asshole. Like he was a product of his time for sure, but his work was much more enjoyable before I realized that a lot of it was just like abstractified displaced racism. Um, there's one story in particular where there's like a Native American dude. I'm paraphrasing obviously, but there's like a Native American dude who's in an insane asylum because he's been possessed by like an alien ghost. And then the protagonist or alien spirit or something, I fucking forget. And the main character goes into the insane asylum and meets up with the Native American who's possessed, and the alien basically comes out and is like, "Oh God, thank God, finally a white person." You can't believe how terrible it was being stuck in that like primitive ape person's head. It was just like only a person such as you could fully understand the magnitude of the cosmic consequences. Somebody of a lesser race can't. And I was like, okay, holy shit, it's like really, really bad. And don't even look up the name of his cat because that's a whole other thing. Um, but it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to separate the art from the artist here. It's not like it hasn't been totally ruined for me because I think, in addition to him being like a racist weirdo, he also genuinely had some really fucking inventive and influential and cool ideas. And so most of the time, I can't separate art from the artist. With Lovecraft, some of his stories like Shadow over Innsmouth and Call of Cthulhu and like the was it the Dream Quest to Unknown Kadath, something like that. Um, there are sagas, or like the Brain in the Jar one. I forget what that's called. There are definitely sagas that he has created that are compelling, and if you can just like keep that in the back of your mind, that some of this might not be coming from the most genuine place. The imagery that he uses, the world that he creates, it is genuinely compelling. So that's whether or not you can separate art from the artist is totally up to you. There's other things like one of my favorite musical albums ever, like ever, is "You Won't Get What You Want" from Daughters. There's something about the sonic palette, about the tones used, about like how the sound design is constructed in that album that is just it is perfect for me. I fucking adore it. I love it. When I discovered it, it was like the perfect for the mood I was in at the time. I was in a kind of a remote area, and I was going through kind of a rough part in my life, and basically just it felt like every day was like cold and gray, and I was like just kind of out, not in the wilderness exactly, but definitely further away from civilization. And that was the soundtrack to that very emotionally turbulent period of my life, and it was so fucking awesome to have that. And then I found out about the lead singer Alexis Marshall and all of the horrible shit that he did, and I can't listen to it. Like I try to be like, okay, it wasn't just him. Like it was a full band, it was a full group of people who contributed to the existence of this thing. I can't blame them for his fuck ups, but I can't do it. Like I can't separate the art from the artist, and I just like don't enjoy listening to it anymore. I'm fucking pissed because it would be like my number one album, pretty much of for that genre of music anyway. I was like, fuck. So I don't blame anybody for having different limits when it comes to that shit, for sure. You like seeing on the internet how people are crashing out over Baku Deku. Oh, what's that? I don't know anything about that. Deku is this dude, right? Hang on. I haven't actually read MHA. Right. Oh, get the fuck over there. That's Deku, right? Or is that Baku? I don't fucking know. Oh, that's weird. Sorry, I got a message from you on my other chat app. YouTube seems to have disliked it. Let me check. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Sorry, it says Marvel Rivals devs need to be locked under the jail. Why does Emma just have a costume with so much ass out like this? Is so wild. She doesn't even built this thick in the comics. Okay, your name is Emma. Let me check a look. Marvel Rivals Emma. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, this is that choices were made. I see. Talking about this. This over here. I don't know why it's not showing up. This thing. I mean, it's not too bad. But it's the lower part. I think you're probably talking about this. Yeah, I mean it's I mean you could argue that like given that the legs are like super muscular and that the focus is on the legs, that the character design here is intended to like convey how much power she has in her lower body. Like if I look at this character and I like pretend that we don't live in a sexist game design environment for a second. I just try to accept this as purely as I can, right? Then I would like sort of charitably say that I think her character design was specifically cultivated to try to convey a sense of strong, powerful musculature. She looks to me like she would be a bruiser, like a fighter, but it's kind of clashing, or there's like an interesting juxtaposition between her like more refined, ornamented armor and her like spiky stiletto heels and stuff like that. That contradicts her, or not contradicts, but that juxtaposes her strong musculature. So maybe what she's intended to convey is like she's got the armor elements, right? But then she's also got the exposed skin, and usually legs aren't like as sexualized as like breasts and hips and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think maybe there's an argument here that that this is not sexualized as much as it is just like an attempt to emphasize her physical strength in a different way, in an unconventional way. But I mean, motherfucker is like 2/3 legs, like, and like this is happening here. So I'm really being charitable and giving everything that I've said about like Diana's design in fucking Pragmata. I really am playing devil's advocate here just for the sake of it. Yeah, choices were made, decisions were made, unfortunately. As long as they don't ruin the Squirrel Girl, then I'll still consider playing it. The Green Guy's Deku. Oh, sorry, I was talking about the character design in Marvel Rivals, which is a fighting game, I think. That's based on Marvel characters. I don't really know much about it, but I guess it's kind of like Overwatch, right? It's like a hero team shooter. Different characters have different special abilities and stuff. You gonna show me the video you were sent? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm probably not getting the full picture, just seeing a static image of this. I'm trying to look for the... Well, there's also this. This what you were talking about? This is a bit of a different vibe. This is a little bit different. I don't know, man. Like, sex is a part of life, and sexuality is a part of life, and like human bodies get too overly stigmatized, and we get weird about them. And I feel like there's a more enlightened version of our society where we can all be more like expressive and revealing with our bodies and have that be okay. And I long for that time because it will mean we have moved beyond some of the like regressive and sexist things that have been so destructive throughout human history. I don't think we're there yet. I think we still exist in a culture of rampant sexism, and as long as that is the case, it'll be very hard to just enjoy and celebrate imagery like this without wondering if it's not some like skeezy marketing thing. You know what I mean? Check Discord. Let's see. Okay, let me see. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a whole vibe, isn't it? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. I don't even know if I want to show this on a stream, man. I might get demonetized. And this is just in the game. It's like falling out. It's falling out. Okay. Fucking god. All right, I take back what I said. Never mind. Okay. Thank you for ruining that in a not even ruining it. Thank you for blackpilling me, is that the term? On the the true nature of this design. I appreciate it. Okay. Hopefully she's like 35 at least though, right? Like so it's not creepy at all. That being said, yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Sorry, for sure. That being said, oh, I missed that comment from Slimy Orb. I feel like Emma is one of those characters who get a pass and she can turn fully diamond. Well, maybe. Like, look, I don't think that this was a good decision, but I do at least like you could look at the design of Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5 and be like, okay, well at least there's a reason why she has to be like basically naked all the time, right? It's not a very good like he still was under no contractual obligation to design that character that way. But you know, okay, here's a better example. If you've watched The Boys, if you haven't watched up to The Boys season 3, I'm going to make a very light spoiler, but some people might consider it a significant spoiler. So spoilers for The Boys season 3 in 3, 2, 1. So Huey at one point takes temp V and he gets the ability to teleport. And when he teleports, he can't keep his clothes with him. So every time he teleports, he leaves his clothes behind and he becomes naked. And it's like, okay, I don't consider that to be... It doesn't feel sexualized. It's not sexy. It's not like the camera doesn't like zoom in on his ass crack or whatever. It's not a sexy thing. It's just like he gets exposed and then he gets kind of like nervous and embarrassed about it, right? But he keeps doing it because he needs to use his ability in a fight. There are ways of incorporating... Like, I don't expect everybody to be like dressed like a nun, you know, and I don't think that would be healthy whatsoever. So there are ways to do it that are tasteful, I guess. Or there are ways to do it that are raunchy, that are still okay. It's not like everything has to be so conservative either. But there are also ways to do it that feel kind of gross and exploitative. And exploitative? Whatever. Naruto time! So let's get started with the Naruto content. I'll put a timestamp for people who want to jump to this part of the video and don't want to listen to me blathering about stuff. I wish that I had... let's see. Wish that I had a better setup. Sorry for knocking the mic so often, by the way. Just got a really awkward setup here that I will try to improve on for next time. Something that I want to find for next time is some tool that will help me keep this book open, because it's a little bit awkward like having to prop it up at the moment. So sorry I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I will do my best to have a solution for next time. I think I know what to do, but it will require me to actually set up the thing. So thanks for your patience in the meantime. We're going to be picking up from around page 150 in Databook 1, where the Jutsu entries begin. Of course, last time we ended, we didn't get through all the character profiles, so if you want to look at a specific character, you have specific questions, let me know. If you want to do continue that in another stream, that's totally fine too. But as you can see, like around page 154, we have this nice little sketch of the characters and their various heights. We have some promotional material for upcoming Naruto events, and we have, I think these are interview questions. I forget specifically, but you can kind of see that, like, with Kakashi's expression, I think these are quotes from these characters. They're like characters reacting to certain things. Um, so I should actually have these pages translated so we know exactly what's going on here. Then we have like an overall. I think this is the popularity contest or like character. There's stuff in here that's not like strictly data, right? It's not just strictly like facts and figures. It's more about fan assessment and fan perception of certain characters, their designs, and stuff like that. Looks like there are some additional stats here for lesser known characters. I think this might actually be like an evaluation of their team synergy and shit like that. And then there is a breakdown. I think, yeah, this is actually where we're at right now on screen as well. We're starting from page 154, where we get a breakdown of like how chakra works and shit like that, and then we start to go into the actual individual jutsu entries, I think, right after that. So let's just get to it. The English version that I'm looking at right here is a fan translation from Narutoversity. I'm going to be somewhat critical of their work because, well, not even critical of their work per se, but I'm going to wind up like not necessarily agreeing with their takes on everything and maybe poking fun of their translations from time to time. So I just want to say for the record that I think we should all remember that the Narutoversity folks volunteered a shitload of time and effort to get these translations up, and they shared them with the community for free, and we've all been benefiting from that hard work for like the better part of a decade now. It's not perfect, and I think absolutely if you publish anything in a public forum, you're opening yourself up to hopefully have a mature dialogue about, you know, what the contents are. So hopefully they understand the feedback is meant in good spirits or whatever, like a genuine feedback. And also, it's a project that does have its flaws and foibles. Not everything is 100% perfect. And so if I call something out as being like, oh, I don't agree with this, or I think this is a mistranslation or whatever, just understand that like it's not intended as slander towards the people who did this hard fucking work for free for us. It's just an acknowledgement that we could maybe iterate on it and make it a little better. Before I start, sorry for the background noise, I'm going to see if I can find something to weight down the other page. And I might have something. Sorry if this be a loud noise. Okay. That wasn't too bad. It's gonna work. This is so stupid. But it might actually get us somewhere for today. I can just put this in the corner. There. Nah, it's just gonna come right up. Oh, maybe. But then this side doesn't have anything either. Okay. I'll try one more thing, because that little knight is not going to be able to carry his quest for us. This thing might help. Okay. Probably overthinking this, but whatever. Wanted to try to at least get something going. Okay, so this is super janky. Sorry, guys. I'll figure out something better for next time. But just, yeah, it might not work. Might not work out. Because at this point, like, the pages are so hard to keep open. It's like right in the middle of the book. But whatever. At least it's something. Probably gonna edit this part out of the video before I put it on VOD. It's something. It's something. It's not perfect, but you know, what are you gonna do? Oh well. Okay. Yeah. Oh well. I might not wind up keeping this up. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's get started. I mean, keeping up the video. What I meant. Okay. Yeah, let's get started. Let's just start reading through the Jutsu entries. Starting on page 154, we've got an entry on ninja techniques over here. Or actually, can I just do this instead? It'd be better. One sec, I just have one more thing I'd like to try. If this doesn't work, then that's not gonna work, is it? Oh, maybe. Yeah, okay, that works. That's much better. Okay. Still not ideal, but Okay, yeah. Thanks for your patience. Let me get the jacket out of the way. And that's something. That gives us something to work with for today. Okay, so let's read through over here. We have an informational file, a technical file, on ninja techniques. It says ninja's techniques, the unique ability that makes a ninja worthy of that name, the techniques. Ninja techniques can temper the body, refine your wisdom, and train the mind only after you master them. Okay, so ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu, the three kinds of techniques that become the basis. Ninja techniques are the most popular, and one can master them by undergoing various kinds of training. The techniques are classified into three types according to the conditions of activation and their efficacy. They are ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu. These techniques, which come in a great variety, have various degrees of difficulty that one masters according to their level. However, ninjas can basically understand them as long as they have an affinity for these techniques. Cursed seal techniques, sealing techniques, secret techniques, techniques that take a special way of mastering. Techniques that restrain the target's movement and their chakra by means of a seal. These are cursed seal techniques and sealing techniques. Then the techniques that are transmitted by blood relatives or in some limited areas. These are secret techniques, like Kekkei, right? Both ways of transmission are strict, and many times they take the form of an inheritance that is seldom lent or shown by means of oral tradition. They're all top secret techniques. The unique ability passed down by the blood relationship with the Kekkei. Oh, there we go. A technique inherited only by those who have a blood relationship that transmits the blood itself, and a unique physical ability thanks to its genes. That's the Kekkei. So you can see that the English translation is not 100%, right? It's like it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but it's not maybe like the most refined collegiate diction out there. Inheriting a technique thanks to the Kekkei can be possible not due to training or oral tradition, but due to the affinity that are the genes themselves. Moreover, it's not always true that the Kekkei is equally inherited by everyone, even if they have inherited the same blood. Okay, so this is a great example of a Databook page that is informative. Right? It doesn't really contain any hyperbole. It doesn't really contain any figurative language, any poetry, or anything like that. And as I mentioned before, the databooks themselves contain a variety of different information with a variety of different writing stangles. Stangle? What the fuck, the fuck is a stangle? Styles, holy shit. Writing styles. And there are times when the databooks do present information that is basically just a one-to-one replication, so to speak, of what we see in the series. This is just a literal description of what we see. I don't really see anything here that strikes me as being worthy of too much scrutiny, although the use of some of the language over here is like a little bit sketchy. I think that's just a translation work. Understand also that some of this stuff is translated into like Portuguese or German and then into English. So depending on the skills of the translators, the certain words might change, might not be 100% accurate. Certain phrasings might not translate, might not translate perfectly back and forth. I was trying to think of a good example recently, but like in Bloodborne, right? When you pick up when a character dies that you're fighting, you get their souls or whatever. They're called blood echoes. In Japanese, I believe the phrase uses chi no ishi, and the ishi specifically refers to like a will that is inherited or passed down, like a dying will. There isn't really an English word that is equivalent to that really conveys the sense of like this is a dying will that is being passed down and handed off, right? It's like almost like a form of inheritance that you're picking up, and that is actually a big part of the story of like inheriting that sort of cursed legacy of the previous hunters. Instead, they translate it to echoes, which you can kind of see why they picked that, but also it loses a little bit of that nuance in terms of the inheritance, and instead it takes on more of a quality of resonance, right? Like an echo is the reverberation or like the repetition of a sound usually, although it can refer to an idea or something like that, right? So it actually inserts a new context. Now, that being said, I wouldn't call that a mistranslation per se. It's a localization that just unfortunately failed to fully capture the the nuance of the cultural specific term. This is why, you'll see translators notes like just according to Keikaku, because uh, sometimes without that, especially like a more novice translator might feel, or might fear rather, that they really, really want to convey the cultural context and they just can't find the right word. It's tough. That's why I think that translation is both an art and a science, right? You have to very thoroughly and deeply understand both languages, but also understand how to convey the overall like ethos of what um like the spirit of the words as opposed to just the letter of the words, if that makes sense. Shinigami says, I think, okay, Sunny Orb says it's Naren time. Yeah, it's Naruto time. I think it'll be a bad time to mention I would draw one of my female characters to be a bombshell. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said before, sex and sexuality are good and healthy things when done well and right, and they're a part of all of our lives, and they're something that shouldn't be taboo, that we should be positive about, we should talk about. And so depicting sex and sexuality in media is a good thing. It can be anyway. It can also be exploitative. So if you're going to use it and utilize it, I would just say, try to do it in a way that conveys something meaningful about your character. But there's nothing wrong even with having like a character who's female be a seductress, in my opinion, or like use her feminine wiles or whatever. I mean, like in the same way that there's nothing inherently wrong with having a male character be a shirtless lumberjack who just like picks things up and puts them down, and that's all he does, right? Like uh, Armstrong, like I'm watching a fucking Full Metal Alchemist, and I forget the name of the dude, but he's like that, right? He's like the lumberjack looking dude who is the husband of the sensei for Ed and um, am I blanking on his name for the brothers, right? The Elric brothers, Ed and Alphonse. And that's basically what he does. He's just there to be a big bear and to pick things up and to put them down and to break stuff, and that's fine, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just that if we currently exist in like this meta cultural, like, this zeitgeist context of there being a lot of sexism, then people unknowingly contributing to that can be a problem. But there's nothing inherently bad about it. It's just the way in which it can be abused, if that makes sense. So do what feels right for your narrative. You're making an art stangle. The many stangles. Is there a Databook description for intelligence on Shikamaru or Kakashi or anyone else that could have good stuff? Probably, yeah. Let's take a look. Let's go back to character files from last time. I think we looked at Shikamaru, didn't we? Oh, it's untranslated, so no, we didn't. I would have to look into that for you. Sometimes they post the images here, but no, these are... what the fuck? Okay. Yeah, so unfortunately that's not here. Let's take a look at Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi. Oh yeah, I don't think we went through this. Well, let's take a quick look. Kakashi seldom reveals his feelings, and he's elusive in words and deeds, always aloof from the world. But he really is Kakashi of the Sharingan. Apart from that, he's Konoha's strongest ninja, who made his name known even in the other countries. However, Kakashi himself doesn't make a display of his true strength. He probably knows very well that displaying strength that is not needing is meaningless. I think that we talked about this when talking about Sage's video, right? Because this is one of the scans that he used later in his video. And I was sort of skeptical of the strongest ninja thing and the display of his true strength thing. Kakashi's a hardcore book lover, and wow, that was not English. Kakashi is a hardcore book lover. Anyway, he always carries one with him to the point that he's absorbed in reading even when he's leading Naruto and the others. So see what I mean about like the phrasing not being... It doesn't feel like native speaker English, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just like something to be aware of. Konoha's #1 master of techniques, nicknamed Copy Ninja. As the man who copied more than 1,000 techniques of the Sharingan, he's feared even by the ninja of other countries. Moreover, Kakashi owns a narrow analytical ability and eye power to see through other people's latent ability, is also an excellent teacher. Probably the fact that Sasuke and Sakura, not to mention Naruto, achieved a remarkable growth in a short time demonstrates it more than anything else, right? So yeah, there's a fairly straightforward description of Kakashi's acumen as an instructor. His Analytical ability is something that's called out specifically in terms of his that would apply to his intellect, obviously. Um, his mind score, his intelligence score is a 4 out of 5, so that's like almost as high as you can get. Although it seems that like his ceiling score and his ninjutsu score exceed his intelligence score. Um, let's see. Coordination, latent ability, luck. Kakashi stands out for the height of his ability of coordination, but his latent ability is worthy of note. There's still room to improve. That's kind of cool. Kind of a nuanced take. Let's take a look at this. With his right eye, he stares at the present. With his left Sharingan, he sees through the future. Okay, so now we're starting to move into a little bit more abstract, not abstract language, a little bit more figurative, right? Elite. Oh, I like that they put the accent on the E. You don't see people doing that all the time. The villagers call Kakashi, who was elected Chunin when he was only 6, a elite ninja. I guess it should be an elite ninja, but whatever. A Chunin doesn't have merely a high fighting ability, but it's a position for which only those who have the ability to assess the situations that deserve to be entrusted to the captain of a platoon and leadership abilities. Okay, so this is mentioning specifically that in order to be considered for this position, you do need to be analytical, you need to be shrewd, you need to be intelligent, right? So you're not just going to be put in the position of a captain if you don't have the ability to back up your skills with intelligence and jurisprudence. Is that the right term for it? Just like being able to make wise, intelligent decisions under pressure. That's obviously very important. From this fact, one can guess how much of an early genius and outstanding being Kakashi is in the village. Outstanding being is a little bit silly, but you know, they do specifically mention his genius. Sharingan, the reason why Kakashi is called the village's #1 master of techniques is in the Sharingan of his left eye. By copying many techniques with the Sharingan and making them his own, he built his current position. However, it seems that he doesn't own his Sharingan since birth, but he obtained it some time ago. How exactly did he obtain the Sharingan? He shows the Sharingan when he confronts a truly strong opponent. Sensei. Currently, Kakashi is working hard as Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura's sensei, but in the past, he too had a teacher and a person whom he looked up to. It looks like that the teaching of this person Kakashi respected had a great influence on the current Kakashi's view of life and leading ideology. Yep, that's great. The photo taken with his past team. Oh, teacher, and the photo taken with his students are lined at his bedside. Oh yeah, so you can kind of see, Minato and Rin and Obito. I think this is one of the chapter covers, right? Let's continue. Or actually, let me catch up on chat and then we can finish the entry over here. I guess I should probably turn this as well. So let me see. Get this. You can see it. Here's the entry. And then here we are right now. Hello, cat. You guys want to see my cat? Go. You need to go out this. Cat reveal. Great. Good job, buddy. Can you not? Okay, you knocked everything over. Wonderful. This is going such a smooth stream. Appreciate you, buddy. We can get both of these things lined up. Okay, there we go. Okay. Hey, come here. Come here, want to say hi? Nico. Okay, now he's not paying attention. Of course. Look. Little cat. Yeah, it's an orange cat. He's he's not very cooperative. Anyway. Maybe he'll come back. I wanted to set up like a little cat cam at some point. Just haven't taken the time to do it. And of course I have like a weird little tripod set up over here with the camera like hovering above the desk, so it's not really a lot of room for him to get in there. Anyway. Getting back on topic. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Turns out the Stangle is a pottery thing. Interesting. Love for his men, they have no shame and I respect it. Yeah, honestly, like one of the best relationships that I was in was with a Juggalo furry. It was fucking awesome. She was amazing. On Twitch, your friend is playing Sonic Adventure 2. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I used to love that game. Glitcher's kind of making him fall out of love with the game, which sucks. Oh, is he? Oh yeah, thirsting for Rouge is not not that surprising. Is he playing the actual like Dreamcast version or the port? Because the ports of SA2 or like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube was great, but like the modern PC ports and shit like that have really um, they really dropped the ball. They're like super super glitchy. They're really awful, unfortunately. There's my cat. You can kind of see. I'll say hi, buddy. Want to help with the data books? Get don't knock the camera over. Fuck. Okay. Well, now he's here. So please enjoy seeing like 1/3 of a cat's haunches. While we talk about super serious Naruto shit. Hello. Hello again. I'm probably not going to worry too much about keeping the book in place while he's sauntering back and forth. Let's see. Pick him up. There you go, buddy. Come here. Words having too many meanings is the enemy of translation, says Slimy Orb. Yeah, it's a good point. I think specifically the like cultural context for everything, like the specific cultural context is a very important nuance that is tough to pick up on if you're not like I think I mentioned before, right? I grew up in Italy and I speak Italian fluently, but when I listen to Italian rap, which I do like, I love me some Caparezza, for example, I don't know half the shit he's talking about because even though I grew up there, I don't know all the references and the memes and like the jargon. It's like constantly evolving. There's a lot of context that I just don't get, you know? And there's certain phrases that I wouldn't even know how to explain, like mi raccomando. Like I know what it means. If an Italian person says to me, "Hey, mi raccomando, if I abbia pazienza," like I know what he's saying to me. I don't know how I would translate that. So, it's just one of those things that it's like it makes total perfect intuitive sense if you grew up with it, but then like how do you explain it? Like I looked it up, or like figurati. Like figurati doesn't really translate well. You can look it up and on the dictionary and it'll give you a definition, but it doesn't really it never really feels right given the context of how you say it. The Sonic discourse is crazier over the fact that I remember people hated Amy, but now they wanted to be back being a fangirl. Oh, she's gonna be in the next movie, right? That'll be cool to see. It's just who the character is, just like a bombshell, but I decided to write her outside of her habitat. That's cool. Yeah, there are human beings that are bombshells and that are very like revealing in their presentation. They are real humans that are part of our world. It's not like you can't depict that, right? Words having too many meanings. Oh yeah, the Sonic discourse. Remember Tsunade, at least she can still do gambling and drink a little, but imagine if she couldn't do any of the things she loves and instead you see her begging on the streets or something. Oh, I see. Yeah, out of her natural habitat. That's cool. That's an interesting decision. Slimy Orb says Mira from Fairy Tail, she is a monster, super OP, but also has hobby just modeling and for a while took a long break from combat. Yeah, that's cool. I think where it kind of comes in is like if you pair that sexuality with the character just being a prop or just being like an object for like yeah objectification, right? If it's just like this character only exists as a reward for the main character, like Winry, right? Like Winry in FMA, because I'm watching that right now. Winry, the first time she's introduced, I think she's sort of sexualized, I guess you could say, in that she has like an exposed midriff and she's like wearing like a bra or whatever, like the sports bra, whatever you call that, right? I guess you could say she's kind of presented in that way. But also, the reason she's dressed like that is because she's a mechanic, right? She like works around the clock to fix the automail. She has her own career as an automail mechanic, and she becomes like a big deal in that whatever that town is that she moves to. And so, I guess you could say that it's a little misogynistic that the main character, like the most prominent female character in the main roster, arguably, is somebody who's in a like support or service role as opposed to somebody who's like on the front lines. But you have other female characters who are on the front lines, and you also, I think like Winry has enough autonomy on her own, and she is like respected and intelligent and resourceful on her own, that it doesn't feel that way to me. Obviously, it's open to interpretation though. Let's see, you're back to 3. Yeah, it's gonna be a brutal struggle, man. Don't give up. Shinigami says my character is more so like Rangiku or Sydney Sweeney, but if you took characters like that and put them in a MMA fighter setting, that's kind of cool. 4 out of 5. I'm not sure what you mean there. Sorry. Basically, analytical skill. Oh, for his intelligence. Yeah, 4 out of 5. With 5 being the highest rank on the. Oh, sorry, the cat's not gone. Here, let me see if I can. Can you hear this? He's purring really loudly. He just bumped the microphone. He's here. I just like picked him up. Oh yeah. No, I'm gonna get a a whole mass exodus from the stream given that the cat is gone. I knew going into it that that would happen. Oh well. It's the price I gotta pay to be a Naruto addict. I mean, perfectly well-adjusted human being. Basically, analytical skills and decision making plus cognitive discipline and stress tolerance. Yeah, yeah. These are all extremely essential parts of being not just a shinobi, but a shinobi captain. Fuck yeah. Yeah. Enjoy the struggle. Oh, how about no? Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. How about no? 4.5 intelligence in Databook 1, 5 intelligence in Databook 2 and 3, so we got smarter apparently. Interesting. That's cool. That's good to know. It looked to me like it was a 4, but let me see. Oh, I see. It's like halfway in between the two lines over there. That's cool. Good. Well noticed. Well spotted there. Yeah, it's an orange cat. Eligibility gets smarter the older it gets. I mean, like, yeah, I think intelligence. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can quantify it, but if part of the ways you quantify intelligence is your ability to solve problems, your problem-solving ability is probably going to increase as you like learn more and expand your knowledge base and you have more experience. It's like, you know, you would probably perceive somebody as being smarter if they like if somebody goes from like taking 10 minutes to solve a Rubik's cube to being able to do it in like 30 seconds, you would probably perceive them as being smarter. It's not necessarily the case that their brain somehow got like you know, its raw power or whatever leveled up. I think it has more to do with the fact that experience and innovation and technique and strategy are playing a role, and that person has evolved their abilities. But you can't do that without some intelligence of another sort as well. So intelligence is pretty complicated. It's pretty multifaceted, as you've very aptly pointed out before. Playing the PC version because he's fallen through walls and stuff. Oh, that fucking sucks. It's also been funny because the chat can interact with the game too for bits, like make Sonic big, small. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, the chat integration. I was watching Joseph Anderson do a stream of Hellpoint, I think it was called, and the devs came in and like were messing with him, like using the Twitch integration. Was super funny to see. It's a really cool idea. Make him lose his speed. You can help him. Sorry for the glorp shit. Kakashi probably also spent time learning for the 2-year time skip as well as training. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, well, we know he reads. We don't know how widely read he is. Considering he uses more jutsu, it makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense too. This cat is shedding, and now my entire... Now, if you guys want to see this is gross, but like my keyboard is covered in so much cat hair. It was spotless. It was spotless before I started the stream. Now it's fucking filthy. He's a little menace. I love him so much. But yeah, so let's go to the next thing. I think we finished up that. Let's just finish up this these pages over here and make sure that it's coming through okay. Yeah, so the face of a happy-go-lucky person is a disguise to deceive the enemy. Lateness. Speaking of Kakashi, somehow or another, he's famous for being often late to the point that appearing in time is strange for him. Also, this habit of... Oh, wait. No matter how late he is, he shamelessly appears with an air of composure. Also, this habit of coming late could really be a characteristic trait of a ninja that always considers how to deceive the enemy, like blind expression. Or else, is there a reason that even Naruto and the others don't know? Which there is. We learn about that later. As expected from the master of techniques, also the variation of his excuses is rich. When you talk about Kakashi, one thing you can't forget is Make Out Paradise. In his favorite book, there's a guide of the human life. It's a forbidden volume that those under 18 are not allowed to read. Surely it's a book for adults among adults. So here's another example of like the kind of tongue-in-cheek jokey tone that the databooks can use, right? Like this is a databook. This as a work of fiction or whatever, this book is geared towards a younger audience. So it's going to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek about dealing with the ecchi content. And I think the author of the databooks here is playing into that by saying, oh, surely this must be a text for the elite among the elite. This must be, like, only the most, elite shinobi would be spending this amount of time delving into this resource. It's got to be like really important material, right? That's kind of like what's going on. So again, it's important to understand that things like this cropping up within a text inform us as to the nature of that text. In response of the support of the wildly enthusiastic readers, also the continuation Make Out Violence is now on sale. It's doing so well it's sold out. The super popular Make Out Violence is now on sale. The said book is a super big work that consists of 3 volumes. Apparently, you worry so much about what's coming next that you end up unintentionally absorbed in reading it. Set of 3 volumes for second and third. The writer is Jiraiya, who admitted to be a super pervert. Apparently, he writes books based on his detailed collection of data. Yeah, that's a little funny. Let's see. Go back here. As a teacher, as a ninja, the things he has to transmit to the younger generations. Techniques. Kakashi excels in everything ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu is the ideal sensei that can teach the rarest techniques combined to his pupils' special characteristics. Thanks to him, Naruto and the others will develop their own strong point. Okay, so maybe we don't need to read through all of this. No, we might as well. We already started it. Kakashi transmits his original technique Chidori to Sasuke, who is a similar type. He explains things like how to mold chakra in an easy to understand way, even if it's related to the theory of ninjutsu. Kakashi explains that those who don't treasure teamwork aren't qualified to become ninja. Right, so all this is basically a straightforward summary of what happens in the manga. Nothing really too much to talk about here. The thing that Kakashi values more highly than techniques is heart. In his experience, Kakashi learned that being considerate towards comrades and a strong force of will is essential to keep living as a ninja. That's why he seeks an honest heart in his students, sometimes without words but risking his life with his actions. Kakashi shows the importance of persisting in believing in the value of teamwork and in oneself. It's so weird to like read the sentences in like chunks like this. And this technique of Kakashi certainly lives inside Naruto and the other two. Okay, so a little bit of figurative language there with the whole like the technique lives inside Naruto, but whatever, you know. My point with making these videos, just to kind of reiterate, is not to say like people like Sage, who say that the data books are literal, you know, and they have like literal information we can take literally. They're all dumb. I'm super smart. Listen to me. Here is a list of everything wrong with them. No, what I want to try to accomplish, what I want to try to do, is to give you guys like an accurate assessment of what the data books actually are. And quite a lot of the information in the data books is fine to interpret literally, based on my assessment. Like if you read through all of them, you will notice that there's some hyperbole, there's some jokes, there's some poetry, there's some tongue-in-cheek stuff, and then there's a bunch of stuff that's just literal dry summaries. And so to really get the most out of the data books, you shouldn't be approaching them from the sense of like, okay, well, these are all shit until proven otherwise, or these are all perfect until proven otherwise. You should just take each statement within the context in which it exists, both in terms of the data books overall, as well as the individual pages and entries and stuff like that, right? Sometimes you're going to get stuff that's totally normal and down to earth and grounded, and sometimes you're going to get stuff that's wild, and it's important to develop like a tool for being able to tell the difference. For Kakashi, the battle with Zabuza was a battle to protect his 3 students and their client Tazuna, Sharingan, Summoning Technique, and Raikiri. The fact that he fought, giving his very best, was to protect those people, important for him to the very end. Kakashi's ability to mentally drive Zabuza to the wall. He copies the opponent's techniques in a moment with the Sharingan. For the ones he must protect, Kakashi personally activates his ultimate secret, the Raikiri. So this is something that is worth considering, you know, like, when we go back up here, you have this statement over here that, like, Kakashi doesn't make a display of his true strength. We talked about a couple different ways to interpret that. One is you can say that, like, he doesn't put on a big, like, grandstanding performance and, like, show off. But another way to interpret that, if you take it literally for power scaling purposes, is you could say that since this is a literal statement in a expository text, that this means that we have never seen Kakashi show his full power. And so he's always been holding back in every single fight. That's the kind of potential pitfall or mistake that I want people to be aware of and to try not to make, right? There's nothing wrong with using this entry, nothing wrong with using this data book, but for phrases like that, you can see the temptation, right? If you're trying to glaze Kakashi, if you're trying to make a pro Kakashi, like respect thread or whatever, that the temptation is there to say, okay, well, we could just take this literally and say he's always holding back because it's in this official source. Does that actually make sense, though? Does it actually make sense narratively, contextually, that he's never shown his true power in any fight. No, I don't think so. I don't think that makes sense based on what we know, and especially over here where we see him like mind freaking Zabuza, like deliberately putting on a performance, like to fool Zabuza to get inside his head. And also, you know, the context here of him being willing to put everything on the line and do whatever it takes to defend the people that are important to him, and then he shows his ultimate secret. This seems to contradict what we have seen before, doesn't it? So, this is the thing. Even within a single Databook statement, it's important to take the things that are being said and measure them up against the other things in that same entry. Because sometimes there will be things that appear to contradict themselves within the same entry, or at the very least, if it's not an outright contradiction, it's something that you don't want to take literally out of context. You want to make sure that you're understanding and using the context correctly, right? Battle of Shinobi, Kakashi and Kabuto clashed for Sasuke, with the public's interest concentrated on the Chunin exams in the background. The clash of two powerful people that happens all of a sudden in a place where the light of the sun doesn't shine. That's surely a real Shinobi fight. Okay, I mean, again, like, this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek with the whole light of the sun doesn't shine. They were in a hospital bed, right? And, like, Kabuto went out of the window, so yeah, the sun does probably shine in there. It's more about the metaphor, right? Yeah, so that being said, I'm gonna grab this Cliff Bar off the fucking shelf, because again, forgot to eat dinner before the stream. And then we'll get back to this. Oh, this is interesting. Things are breaking downstairs. Alright, 1 second. I'm just gonna grab it off the shelf, be right back. Okay. Actually gonna go, like, refill my water glass, so give me, like, 60 seconds, I'll be right back. Okay, thanks for your patience. Let's get right back into it. That's why you want that Slimy Orb says that's what you want us to think. The cat hasn't made it dirtier. It's all this fucking, like, cat hair is all over it. I mean, okay, there's a little bit of schmutz on it, but I mean, for the most part, I'm trying to. There's no way for me to, like, show cat hair on stream. This is not what you guys signed up for, right? But, like, in my and you can't even really tell. What the fuck am I doing? Never mind. Oh, Shinigami, I was 6 seconds early. My bad. Disappear for 6 more seconds. There we go. Okay. I just decided to distribute my time in an unconventional way. Yeah, the purpose of the stream was not to show you guys how much cat hair I can fucking accumulate. Sake. Let's see. Shinigami says, considering he uses more jutsu. Oh yeah, you would say what you did about solving more problems, like how L is constantly solving cases. Oh yeah, exactly. Like, the more cases he solves, as long as he can retain that information, which he should be able to, then he should be growing in at least perceived intelligence. I mean, like, I think there's so much misunderstanding about, like, what intelligence is and how it actually works, that people mean different things when they say, oh, that guy's so smart, right? Like, they could be referring to knowledge, they could be referring to problem-solving abilities, like memory, recall. You and I have talked about this before, right? So, cats make things cleaner. I don't need a source. I the fuck up. They can keep themselves pretty clean, but he's like hemorrhaging like fur. He's like blowing out his coat because it's starting to get warmer here. My dog as well. Like I have to constantly vacuum to keep up with them. It's a nightmare, but I love them. I love them so much. Um, don't believe in poetry. It's just for nerds. I believe in memoirs. But what if a memoir came in the form of a poem? What would you do then? Dude, I'm drawing so much that I better get a reaction out of you if they're done with the lighting. Yeah, I'll take a look at it after the stream for sure. I'm proud of you. Is that word to say that I'm proud of you for the work that you're doing? I'm trying to find a word that says like I think it's good. You're doing a good job. Keep going. Maybe proud isn't the right word, but like yeah, I'm impressed with the progress. I think that's a better way to put it. Okay, so going back to the Jutsu entries, where were we? Page like 156 or something. Yeah, 154, 55. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to like at least have like some version of the hard copy available, because as much as it's nice to have the whatchamacallit, like as awkward as it is to use this camera setup, I really like being able to show the imagery for things that we don't have scans for. I don't have time to scan hundreds and hundreds of pages right now, so this is the best I can do for the time being, to just show you guys like, okay, well this is what actually fix this a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay. This is what is actually on the pages. You can kind of see that there's some diagrams here that haven't really shown up in the Naruto Versity scans, with the like chakra diagrams, and there's Ebisu in the corner. And of course, gotta be a better way to do this for next time. Anyway, so at least you get some of the imagery, right? I want you guys to have that context. It's useful, I think. Okay. So yeah, let's read together. Chakra. Oh wait, hang on a second. Accumulating chakra and forming hand seals to activate a jutsu. The physical and mental energies from 130 million body cells, that is, chakra, are accumulated. I don't think that's right, because we have like trillions of cells in our bodies, so that's interesting. Right? Let me look this up. I'm pretty sure we have like 1 trillion brain cells. How many cells in the human body? The average adult human body contains approximately 30 to 37 trillion cells. Yeah, okay, so this is a little bit of a low ball from Kishimoto over here. Unless it's just a translation quirk. If this sequence is performed impeccably, the jutsu is activated. To activate jutsu other than taijutsu, basic chakra conversion is needed. This is also not technically true, right? Because you don't have to perform a technique flawlessly necessarily in order to execute a technique. You might just like do it inefficiently or inelegantly. So I think the language here is intended to convey that regardless of the level of proficiency that any given shinobi happens to show with any given execution of any given technique, that overall at a baseline what shinobi do is really fucking impressive and requires like a high degree of skill and talent and focus. It's like even the most basic fireball jutsu is something that requires a level of refinement that would be considered, I don't know, like using black belt as an analogy, right? It would be considered like Shaolin monk level or something. And these little kids in the Naruto universe are already doing shit like that. And then add, when you consider like how much better Sasuke gets at fire manipulation over the course of his journey, it just further embellishes and establishes that point, how impressive it is. The Japanese says 10 trillion cells. Okay, thank you. How about no? That's obviously a whole lot closer, so I appreciate the context there. Wonder why they got that aspect of the translation wrong. So for chakra, the source of energy for a jutsu's activation is chakra. That's perfectly acceptable, perfectly understandable. To put it plainly, chakra is what fuels a jutsu. The mental and physical energies of a shinobi's body are joined together into stamina, which is internally converted into chakra, the energy source for a jutsu's activation. The efficiency of this conversion is influenced by the user's skill. Being able to efficiently convert stamina means a possibility to cast an even larger number of jutsu. In addition, chakra can be used to temporarily trigger some physical abilities. Thanks to this, shinobi can perform superhuman physical feats. It is necessary to balance out these two elements, mental and physical energy, to need properly. Stamina. Having a lot of what the fuck? Okay. Having a lot of stamina means an increased number of jutsu available for use. The scope of attack expands proportionately. Naruto has a wonderful amount of stamina. Control. Building up chakra at the soles of the feet, one can adhere to a tree branch. Or tree trunk. This is probably meant to be trunk, right? If one can maintain the chakra and control it, you can kind of see, I think, over here, this is the specific image it's referring to. So I guess it does count as a branch. Releasing control even for a little bit is enough to fall to the ground. Release. With training, it's also possible to release chakra from the body. Continuous release from the sole of the feet enables one to walk on water. Upper classes are even able to stand still. Yeah, this is great. So, this is one of those instances of an infomatic, essentially, right? This is just an explanation of the baseline mechanics of how things work overall. Doesn't seem like they're using any elaborate language or any figurative language. This would be a great page to reference if you're just trying to learn about the techniques themselves and what the underlying function of the techniques are from a mechanical standpoint. Right? Ninjutsu. What are these ads? From an attack to escape, a special skill ninjas have that can be used in many situations. Ninjutsu consists in working the chakra inside you and manifesting its effect over your own body or the opponent. Compared to taijutsu and genjutsu, ninjutsu is more diversified, and ninjas use them based on the situation they're in to complete a mission. The ninjutsu has advantages and disadvantages based on the village and who's performing. Examples of ninjutsu for escape or defense, body replacement, and for attacking with high destructive power, chidori. There are many types of ninjutsu for every need. I think I'll flip to the next page, because I think this is now starting to go. Yep, there's the chidori. Styles. Most ninjutsu can be classified based on their element. For example, fire jutsu are named fire release, water jutsu water release. The jutsu's effectiveness increases if the user has aptitude for the used element. That's an important detail. Combining techniques. A technique can become more effective if it's used in tandem with others. For instance, the shadow clones combined with the sexy technique becomes the harem technique. There are infinite combination possibilities. Advantages. The user becomes able to face a physically stronger opponent. It's also possible to attack from range. Disadvantages. Depending on the jutsu, it may be hard to generate the exact chakra amount. The hand seal order may also be complex and demand time. That's good. So I think that, maybe more so in early days than in the later parts of the series. The limitations and the drawbacks of shinobi techniques are exemplified a little bit more before characters start zooming around the battlefield at lightning speed and throwing lava-infused Rasen shuriken that chop down massive fucking god trees in a single attack. Before then, we had this much more grounded representation of the system of power overall. I think that can be a bone of contention or like a dividing line in the community as well. With some people, especially myself in the past, like I used to kind of refused to read the war arc because I just hated the level of power creep or even power cliffing that had occurred at that point in the series. And I felt like it was diverging way too far away from the more grounded, more nuanced and balanced power system that we had initially gotten. Now, I've come to love a lot of what happens in the war, but I still do kind of regret that we never got a full series that stayed this grounded throughout. I think that, like, the Biju bomb being the height of power, or, like, Pain being, like nobody getting much stronger than Pain would have been a perfectly reasonable limit for the series. I think there's a reason why we don't see a lot of insane DC stuff happening in Boruto either. Maybe they're leaving room for it later on, but I feel like there was an acknowledgement that maybe things had gotten a little bit too extreme. And I mean, obviously we can make the argument about AP versus DC for power scaling purposes, but for a casual reader, it definitely feels like they scaled back on the power output from my perspective. Yeah. Taijutsu. An arduous training can make the body into a weapon. This is an attack technique that uses strength and physical resistance to deal damage directly to the opponent's body. This is called taijutsu. Basically, it needs no chakra, allowing for quick strikes in a sequence without a breach for enemy counterattacks. So, again, this is fine. This is a fine description of how taijutsu works. But don't fall into the trap as a power scaler of being like, okay, so taijutsu categorically, if character uses taijutsu, then their opponent cannot counter it. it would be pretty ridiculous to say that like taijutsu inherently is uncounterable, right? The intended use, the overall design, the advantage that taijutsu may have over ninjutsu is that whereas a ninjutsu you have to build the chakra, you have to mix it, mold it, you then have to apply the release to it, you have to memorize all the complex hand signs. It takes time. You have to stop for a while to do that unless you're extremely highly advanced. I mean, look at the whole fucking sequence of hand signs that Kakashi had to use to do the water dragon or whatever it's called with Zabuza, right? That's definitely very different from a continuous flowing barrage of taijutsu attacks from somebody like Lee, or even like Kimimaro with his bone dances, which are essentially just taijutsu that are weaponized and enhanced with his Kekkei Genkai. Right? I guess you could say it's Kenjutsu technically if it's like, if you consider his bone like sword thing to be a sword or a spear. Strong Fist and Gentle Fish, there are two fish. Strong Fish, Gentle Fish. There are two fish types. Strong Fish, which inflicts visible physical damage, and Gentle Fish, which causes damage to the internal vital lines through which the chakra courses and can damage the internal organs connected to them. Lee and Neji use different distinct styles. Unlike the other categories, there's no need to use chakra, and you can use all your stamina to perform the techniques. This is something that I think is very interesting. Disadvantages is hard to attack from a distance, and advanced techniques may greatly exhaust the one who performs them. And then finally, Genjutsu. Hypnosis and illusionism to confuse the mind. It's some kind of hypnotic technique that drags the target's mind into an illusory world and may cause confusion or physical/mental exhaustion. So keep in mind, right? We're going to start talking about, but if you are a Powerscaler who is interested in talking about Genjutsu and about things like, for example, Road to Ninja and the limited Tsukuyomi, and whether or not that counts as a universe, stuff like that we've talked about before, keep in mind that the very first like Databook-based explanation of how this stuff works is that we get this phrase of dragging the target's mind to an illusory world. So this is in application, like this description gets used before the Tsukuyomi is introduced. The Tsukuyomi is only introduced in content that's covered up to like through the second Databook singular. The first Databook, we don't see it used, and I don't think it gets mentioned either. It only shows up when we meet Itachi, and we only meet Itachi in chapter 141. So when characters in Naruto use techniques like, for example, Kakashi using the Genjutsu technique, or like Kabuto using the Genjutsu technique, can we actually see it in the preview window over here? Yeah, it's a little too low. Hang on, let me push this up a little bit. So you can actually see in the bottom here on page 157, here are examples of the Genjutsu that are being used. Apparently, these Genjutsu over here fit the description of being pulled into an illusory world. These are the examples that are being used in conjunction with that phrase. So understand that the Databooks use phrases like that, dragged to an illusory world, even if there is not an actual world to which the people are being sent. So I think I don't need to explain this to anybody here in the stream specifically, but just be aware that like just because a character describes an illusory space as another world doesn't mean it's a literal physical world. It is a phrase that the Databooks use consistently to describe in the abstract, as a metaphor, what it's like for somebody to be the victim of a Genjutsu. Many types of Genjutsu that may be used to attack or give a handicap to those who use them. Yeah, and it specifically calls out Temple of Nirvana, right? Which is the flower technique, feather-based Genjutsu that Kabuto uses during the assault on Konoha. Advantages, it's hard to detect who use it. Not only that, there can be many targets all at once. Disadvantages, prolonging a user exhausts the user, and it hardly deals physical damage to the target, right? So good, I like this world building. I think we're getting a lot of good world building here. We're getting a lot of pros and cons, and this genuinely feels like a field guide, right? This feels like this is as expository as a reference text, quote unquote, as the Databooks get. It's literally just an explanation of how everything works mechanically. It's got diagrams and pictures from the series. It's designed to explain to you how the things are working. That doesn't mean that every single thing in it is literally 100% correct. It also doesn't mean that it's appropriate to take the most literal interpretation of this stuff and shove it into a power scaling context and just expect it to work. But overall, yeah, these are great examples of the Databooks, like, quote unquote, doing their job as people perceive the job to be, which is just like teaching us how shit works. This does not mean the entire databooks follow this rule set, though. We'll see that pretty soon. Catching up on chat really quick. Infinite combinations is not the original Japanese. It's just combining techniques through coordination expands the variety of techniques, something like that. Oh, that's cool. I appreciate the context there. I feel like infinite combinations is one of those things where it's like, yeah, again, like let's not take that literally, and assume that any given shinobi can literally do infinite shit, or infinite different combinations of things. But if we take it in the abstract, right, you take it in the in a metaphorical context, I think it's fine, right? It's just meant to emphasize that, essentially, I mean, you could imagine that like any number of arbitrary different combinations of different techniques that a character could use, and it could be metaphorically, figuratively infinite. Obviously, I mean, like, I don't want to get into a math debate here. Like, even if a character had 10,000 different techniques, eventually, and so if I have 10,000 different techniques, and I could use technique A, or A plus B, or A plus B plus C, or A plus C, or A B C D, or A B D, A C D, etc. Like, think about all the different like factorial or whatever variations of the different combinations of things I could use. That's a very, 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 very high number, but it's not infinite, right? Obviously, any character who has a finite number of techniques in their repertoire will by definition only be able to use them in a finite combination of ways. But that being said, I mean, I don't think that we're intended to take this hyper literally, right? We're allowed to kind of look for the nuance in here and understand that it's just like some fun hype language to help enhance the entertainment. That being said, I didn't notice this before, but I love how the various sections over here are marked in white. You can kind of like jump to them easily, and they stand out from the black border. That's a really cool design choice. Part of the reason why I advocate for people reading these data books is just because they are really well done. Like, they're really well made pieces of literature, essentially, right? They're high quality, high effort, really, really cool. Let's see. Let me catch up on the rest of the chat. Is there something in the databooks about the Sharingan when it comes to how it impacts intelligence? I don't think so specifically, but there is a Jutsu entry on the Sharingan that I'm sure we'll get to pretty soon. We can take a look for it. I think that the way that the Sharingan tends to be described throughout the databooks is that it gives the user great insight and wisdom. So it's not really specifically about, like, it makes you smarter to have it. Although I think they will say stuff like Itachi is a particularly intelligent and genius user of the Sharingan. But the Sharingan itself is more about wisdom and perception than intelligence in and of itself. It's more about, like, this is an eye that can see through deception. It can see the past and the future. It can see, see through illusions and see through, like deception, like I said before. It's more about that, like, level of supreme insight, like superhuman, like nothing's getting past you kind of thing, which is less about intelligence and more just about, like, heightened awareness. Not to say that those are mutually exclusive. You're asking because you always wonder about how much does it impact when Kakashi or Itachi try to make a deduction or something. I think it would just expand the amount of information that they are taking in, and as long as they have the cognitive ability to process that, then it should be a bonus, right? But keep in mind, right, like, think about Nagato using the 6 paths, and the fact that the 6 paths each have 2 eyes, and if he brings out, like, the dog and, like, a couple of others, animals, right, those each have multiple eyes, and he can see through those eyes all simultaneously. So Nagato, is getting sensory input from all those different perspectives, and it's kind of like the analogy that Ma and Pa give us is that it's kind of like somebody watching through a variety of different security cameras. So Nagato's intelligence doesn't necessarily, like, I don't think there's any evidence that he gets smarter, like his brain gets a boost in terms of its processing capacity when he uses the paths. So if anything, you might argue that having multiple paths out is actually kind of a distraction, because now he needs to visually process, sort, and react to things happening from 6+ different perspectives, right? So that might actually be more distracting for him than just using the Rinnegan on his own. Or you can look at the fact that he can even do this in the first place and fight effectively as just like an intelligence feed for him, because he needs to be able to process all the sensory information coming in from all these different sources and demonstrate reasonable responses to them. So I think it's kind of both. I think like you need to be kind of a genius to be able to use something like that, and also um, it's going to put a heavy burden on your brain to handle all of that sensory stimulus, if that makes sense. I think it's more so that Ikemoto's bad at conveying scale. There's a lot of big booms, but usually it's placed in vague white void dust clouds, whereas Kishimoto usually places them next to stuff. That's an interesting take. Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm just trying to think of stuff like Baryon mode as being one of the climactic like power. Am I using the term right? Power cliffs. It's like one of the power leveling up things that happens that is very distinct, right? Um, and the way it's presented is mostly through taijutsu, right? Like Naruto, I don't think he uses any ninjutsu while in Baryon mode. It's just taijutsu. So he could have decided to give Naruto an ultra mega miracle super duper fighting gun cannon that like draws power from the nearby star or from the sun and like creates an ultra high processed beam of like cell annihilating lasers or something that he infuses with the swords of the Rasen Shuriken, yeah, etc., etc. Right? Like he could have made the decision to convey power on that scale. Instead, he chose to actually represent this new level of power, this new form, very very simply, kind of subtly, kind of humbly almost, with a simple taijutsu clash, which I think is interesting. That doesn't necessarily mean like Naruto's weaker, obviously, than his like like OG Naruto self, or that he can't do some insane like DC feats if he wanted to. It's just interesting that I feel like there's less of a focus on that for whatever reason. Sorry for the noise there. Shinigami says, well, unless your name is Sasuke, who seems carried by it, literally his whole data fight is like Sharingan does this. Oh, that's true. Yeah, it gives him enhanced perception, and then but I think he's using his own like intellect to process the information he's been getting and then come up with strategies that are appropriate, right? Like his Sharingan lets him see that there are little micro bombs in his blood, in his bloodstream or whatever, that he's inhaled. Now, it doesn't tell him anything other than the fact that he has those inside of him. He needs to figure out that they're Earth style. He needs to figure out that Chidori will counter them, and he needs to figure out that to do the mental calculation. Okay, will it be worth the risk to my body to run electricity through it to try and diffuse this jutsu, stuff like that. That being said, Sasuke needs to be smart enough as well to like focus the Sharingan to be able to, I don't exactly know how it works, but it seems like he kind of can change the resolution of it almost to focus like a microscope. And he's able to do that to see into his body. He needs to be smart enough to figure out that he should do that in the first place. So, yeah, I think it's like to kind of use the analogy that Zetsu uses about somebody who's incredibly talented with a pebble could beat somebody with a shuriken. And this actually goes back to the debate that I had with Lapis on whether intelligence plays a role in a fight. I think that like all those tools that you have, all the enhanced perception, and like it's going to go nowhere unless you can actually use it practically and innovate on it with your actual intellect, right? Hey Omnibomni, it's good to see you. Hope your trek is going well. Thank you for spending some time with us this evening. I'm doing okay. I am really tired. I'm kind of like feeling woozy and weird today, so sorry if I wind up being more rambly than usual. But yeah, doing okay overall. In good spirits. The weather's getting nicer over here. Genuinely prefer to spend time outside in the sun when I can. Believe it or not, despite my like weapons grade nerd levels, I still actually really like being outside on nice days. So Nagato would be the best gamer, being able to play 6 games at once. Nagato would use the Paths of Pain to multi-box like a fucking 20 World of Warcraft accounts and farm gold. Although I'm guessing that like you can probably do that shit with AI entirely at this point, so it's like whatever. turns the sun into a Rasengan. I would love to see a solar Rasengan. He gets like a moon-powered Rasengan in one of the movies in the Moonrise Kingdom, I think, a lunar Rasengan. For whatever reason, I've always really loved like moon-related characters and moon energy. Like I think her name was it Diana in fucking League of Legends? I was never any good at her, but I played the shit out of her because I loved like the I don't know, I love lunar energy and the moon being used as a source of magic. It's really cool. Bloodborne is probably part of why I love that game so much. Are there specific sayings about the Sharingan? Because if so, we could grant some of the. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for them. I think the Sharingan entry is probably pretty soon. So we'll go over that. Once you can use that as a tool, and not be carried by it like Shikamaru. Yeah. Saria says sometimes my sister and girlfriend will make fun of the fact that I'm allergic to pecans, and my sister will say I'm just destined to be lesbian because I'm a lesbian with a nut allergy. Oh shit! I see what she did there. Anyway, back to Naruto. What's funny though is that I've heard people adopt the term nut to refer to like getting off regardless of input. Let's say, right? It's just kind of become a general term for concluding. So. Yeah, I don't know if that necessarily carries the same connotation as it used to, but I mean, I do appreciate the pun for sure. Yeah, I'll take a look. I'll probably take a look after the stream, Shinigami, because I just want to stay focused on the this for now. I can take a quick look. But if you're looking for more in-depth feedback, then it'll probably be a little bit later. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on the Discord when you want to send it. Yeah, absolutely. Drink some tea, rest up a little bit. You've done good work. Oh, I didn't realize that Rapon's had moon power as well. I forgot about that. That's a good change, so I'm not sure. I've heard that term before. Let me see. I'm not seeing it, Shinigami. Did you send it? I got Discord open in the... Oh, maybe it's hiding it because of the... Oh, cool, yeah. This is really cool. The color scheme is really great. I love the way that you've depicted the energy with the loops and everything. Yeah, really, really fucking cool. Great work, dude. Good work. You should definitely take a break after that. You've earned it. Sorry, I got distracted by something else. Yeah, this is really, really cool. Great work, dude. Okay. So going back here, Juin Jutsu, the curse that seals the targets. Wait, you didn't send it. What's this one? Oh, this was from the other day. Oh, this must have been from this morning. I'm looking at the one with the guy's got the orange shirt and he's got like all these like yellow energy beams with rings and circles. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Well, that's if you did more work after that as well, that's even more impressive. Great work. It's from the series. She has both Sun and Moon, Life and Death. Oh, cool. Yeah, I was not aware of that. That's really cool. The trip is going, not sure how to describe, but like there's kind of a breakdown in communication between me and my true travelers. That sucks, dude. I feel like you mentioned that last time too, that you guys weren't getting along as well. Especially if you're kind of stuck together for a long period of time, that can be really frustrating. Do you think they're open to hearing that feedback? Do you think you'll have a chance to like connect with them and be like, hey, this isn't working out? Hopefully you guys can find a way to coexist. There you go, Shinigami. Yeah. I love those like barbed wire style forking electrical beams in the background. Very, very cool. Yeah. And the contrast with the darker background like helps the colors pop as well. Good fucking work, dude. I hope you're proud of it. You should be. It's been a problem from the beginning, but just kind of boiled over this week. Yeah, that sucks. Hope you guys can achieve a kind of resolution because you have like another month to go, right? Where you're gonna be kind of stuck together. If you can't get along, that would just make everything miserable. Dr. Strangle said, reading a series lately where the main character activates their firepower by being under moonlight. Pretty cool reversal of expectations. Oh, that's awesome. What's the name of that series? I'd love to check it out. I read the first chapter or volume of Fire Punch. That is an intense series, for sure. But I mean, like, it's by the same dude who did Chainsaw Man, right? So I'm not surprised that it goes places. Cool. Yeah. Oh, you've been giving feedback multiple times, but it's like just feels like even my feedback gets misconstrued, misinterpreted, and like that's never been a problem in my life. Yeah, it sounds like it might be a them problem then. Like if if you've given the honest feedback, you've been like straightforward and like not hostile about it, and they can't appreciate that, then that's on them. But of course, that doesn't really help your situation. I'm sorry that you're stuck in that position. Wish I had some advice, but I don't really know how to solve it. I'm sorry, but I am hopeful that you guys can find some common ground because I know you've obviously invested a lot in that trip, right? You'd like it to end well and conclude well after everything you've invested. I'm sure. So looking at Juin Jutsu, the curse that seals a target's mind or body. It's a seal applied to control the target's power or actions. Those cursed with a Juin Jutsu have a seal carved onto their bodies or into their bodies. This cursed seal reacts to the secret hand seals activated by the one who executed it, which may cause physical or mental suffering to its victims. Juin Jutsu are secret techniques and as such are wrapped in mystery. Orochimaru. Orochimaru's cursed seal stimulates Sasuke's evil intentions. Doesn't really have evil intentions. When he releases chakra, the cursed seal spreads all over his body. The cursed seal Orochimaru placed on Sasuke reacts to chakra use. Hyuga clan's main lineage. Hyuga clan has its lineage the Byakugan Akeke Genkai. To keep it secret, all branch lineage members have a cursed seal carved into their forehead, which has already caused much tragedy. I wonder if this is true. I wonder if it is literally all branch members, or if it's just the ones that are combatants. Like, if like a random, like if Hanabi or whatever had been, is that her name? Like Hinata's like little sister or cousin or whatever she's in the last. If she had shown up in the branch family, and she was like never gonna be a combatant, would she also have gotten the brand? Or is it just for ninja who are like potentially going to use the Byakugan in combat? I wonder. Fuinjutsu seals power out of control to restore order. It's a sealing technique to limit, annul, or stop the target from using a certain ability. Markings appear on the target's body and reveal the composition of the cursed seal or what it is you wish to seal. There are even and odd combinations based on the amount of symbols used, and each one has different effects. Fuinjutsu is another type of jutsu wrapped in mystery. Orochimaru overlaid an odd seal to the even seal marked by the fourth Hokage. The original seal's effects was damage and made Naruto suffer. The odd seal was undone by Jiraiya. Sasuke, to seal away the evil Juin marked on Sasuke by Orochimaru, Kakashi made a Fuin seal with his own blood. An evil sealing method stops the uncontrolled chakra strength. See, this is part of the reason why I advocate for reading the databooks. It might not be the case that you understand all of the vicissitudes, all of the nuances of how all this stuff works in your first read through the series. A lot of it can be kind of obscure. A lot of it can happen pretty quickly. And if you're like me, you tend to want to, especially the first time I read through the manga, I was very focused on just like getting to the cool fights and shit. I didn't pay as close attention to the mechanics. It's very useful having something like this where you can be like, I want to know specifically what a sealing technique is. Oh, okay, that's how this works. Right? The data books are really genuinely great at providing that sort of information. It's just important to know when the databook is talking to you with that tone and when it's being silly and goofy, which we're going to get to in a second. Dr. Shang says it's a Chinese light novel called The Pursuit of the Truth. Oh, that's really cool. Really cool. I think I have a scan somewhere of something that you were telling me about, like, was it in wuxia? Am I saying that correctly? The significance of different types of swords and their symbolism behind them. Let me see. I think this might have been from Sage's server. It might have been from mine. Principles, creating anything. I have it somewhere. There's a really, really cool thing that you shared with me before. About like how the representation and the lore of like a sword in the specific type of Chinese media. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. It was like a year ago. Omni says, people I know have a habit of complimenting my ability to explain things, communicating how I feel and such on. Like, I can't help feeling it's a me problem, but in that case I must be going crazy. Well, I mean, if people have consistently complimented you on your ability to talk clearly and explain things clearly with other people, then it might not be you. Like I think it's great that you're being humble and self-aware. Obviously that's a good attribute, but also like if you've tried earnestly and honestly and they're just not hearing you, then I hope you don't blame yourself for that. You don't remember talking about swords? I'll see if I can find it. It's really interesting. I have it saved in one of my innumerable fucking folders somewhere on my computer that I'm always in the process of reshuffling. So, thank you. Thank you for whatever the fuck it is I'm thinking of that you helped me out with. I mean, you've helped me out with so many things over the years at this point. So, you know, consider this a blanket statement of appreciation for all the awesome shit that you share. And I'll see if I can find it. Might actually be on my laptop. Anyway, sort myself out. Hiden. There are many techniques taught within a clan or specific regions. Also called Hijutsu, Hiden are highly confidential techniques inherited by the members of a group or a clan that lives in a certain region. They hardly require talent or a specific bloodline, but generally they're limited to the group of clan they belong to. So this is an instance where, we talked about this before, I think. The translation quirks of a source like this can potentially lead you to get the wrong idea. Where this isn't necessarily a problem with the Databook so much as with the fan interpretation. If you were a Powerscaler who were to take this hyper literally, this particular phrasing sounds sarcastic, right? You know, if I were to say like, oh, I'm hardly going to like walk all the way to the store when I can drive, right? That implies that I am not going to do that. Like it would be ridiculous or silly for me to do that. So I could see somebody reading this and being like, so it doesn't require talent or a specific bloodline to use, which is really silly. Obviously, like Hijutsu, you could look at like a Kekkei Genkai that might also be a Hijutsu, and that requires those specific things. But what I think this is trying to say is that there is a distinction between certain types of Hijutsu. Some of them might require technique or a specific bloodline, but it's not necessarily the case. Oftentimes they are limited within a specific group, and they might not be something that is like a tied to a genetic trait, right? But the term Hiden, or like Hijutsu and Hiden, can refer, I think, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, actually. Now that I'm saying this out loud, maybe it is trying to tell us that there is a distinction between Hiden and Kekkei Genkai, and that those two terms can't be used interchangeably. So maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it could be. Because Shadow Imitation, Parasitic Destruction, Multi-Size, Soft Physique Modification, none of these are Kekkei Genkai. And there are Kekkei Genkai in the first Databook, obviously. So yeah, I think I might have been wrong about that. Sorry about that. Kenjutsu and their reasons. There are two conditions for a technique to be considered forbidden. The first is when its use endangers the user's life. The second, when its effect is dangerous for going against the laws of nature. Especially in the second case, a scroll that has a technique considered forbidden is sealed. This provides some important context, I think, to the reason why, like Naruto's the scroll that gives him access to the Taiju Kage Bunshin or whatever is considered forbidden, because if you don't know how to use it, it can actually be extremely dangerous to yourself, and you could just wind up killing yourself, right? Multiple shadow clone technique, yes. Twin snakes. There's another one, because the mutual death technique also like significantly endangers the user, which is also the case for the second type. But then there's this additional layer of this going up against the rules of nature, and the fucking Metal Gear Rising OST starts to play in the background. And yeah, I guess so. I think I was wrong. Like the fact that Kekkei Genkai get their own section over here to differentiate themselves from Hiden means that I think they're being considered separately. So let me check chat real quick. Hey Realman, it's good to see you. I feel like I've seen you've been putting up some quizzes, right? I've been really enjoying. Super fun. I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Part 1, Kakashi versus Gojo. Kakashi no diffs. I don't know about that. I feel like Gojo's abilities are... I mean, I'm only at the end of whatever season 1 on Netflix covers, right? So I'm not very far into the series at all. I got through like the Forest Academy fight and everything that goes on there with like the sister school competition or whatever the fuck it's called, right? And the king, the Wing King, is my favorite guy. But from what I can tell, Gojo's abilities are just more, like, less bound by these strict rules. of the chakra system. I mean, he can just hover in midair, right? Something that Kakashi can't do. I don't see how Kakashi's getting through infinity or infinite. Yeah, infinity. I don't know, like, mathematically, if Gojo's fast enough to get to Kakashi to be able to use the Limitless or Infinite Void or whatever, like the domain expansion. But obviously Kakashi is vulnerable to that sort of thing, given his reaction to the Tsukuyomi. So I think that Gojo has a really good shot. I would put my money on him in part 1. DMS Kakashi, I don't think is well, that's an interesting question. Do you think like the Kamui Shuriken can get through infinity? That's what it's called, right? His barrier. I get them mixed up. It's like infinity is the barrier, and then infinite void is the domain expansion, and then the limitless is the realm in his domain expansion. Is that right? In Japanese, it's not hardly as much as it is rarely / few that require. Okay, yeah, I think that was what I was trying to say. I kind of stumbled over my words and confused myself as usual, so I appreciate the clarification there. Lightning style gets through it. Oh, interesting. Nue's lightning has wounded Gojo. Ah, see, I'm not far enough in the series to speak on it. Or just hit him really hard. He needs to strengthen the technique at one point, so it's limited by his cursed energy output. Okay, that makes sense. See, I like that, actually. I like the fact that it's not just a fuck you button, that it actually has like some real limitations. Tsunade negatives. I do think that, like, I mean, pre-war, that there are arguments for Tsunade beating Kakashi. I know that's going to ruffle some feathers, but whatever. I think there's a strong argument for it. Rangiku and Sweeney are chopped. Not sure about that. Don't know those characters, unfortunately. Japanese is not hard. Oh, yeah. I do know there's a distinction between swords and sabers in wuxia, which is nobility. Oh, hopefully I'm saying that right, wuxia, which is nobility versus folk hero. I think that's what you're getting at. Yeah, that sounds really familiar. Unlimited Void only works with the first equalization, which would also mean Genjutsu works. Gotcha. Okay. Well, then Gojo would probably be vulnerable to Genjutsu, right? I'm guessing. I really don't know if those sorts of techniques show up in JJK at all. Is someone uncultured? Ryomen just has the ability to like find the exact phrase to get under our skin, which for me is just any form of Nagato slander whatsoever will just send me into a fury. So not that you should take advantage of that. Oh yeah. Cool. So yeah. So moving on. Kekkei Genkai, a special trait related to a blood heritage. There are unique. Oh, these are unique techniques or abilities that depend on genetic factors. Like Kekkei Genkai grants various abilities to its heirs who now have powers far beyond those of common people. When someone with a Kekkei Genkai acquires a ninja technique, its effect may be unbelievable. Okay, so a little bit of hype here, but it's not entirely inaccurate. Some Kekkei Genkai up to volume 14, 3 Kekkei Genkai have been identified, each one with extraordinary abilities and impossible for normal people. Not only that, what was revealed of these powers thus far has only been the tip of the iceberg. Byakugan allows for looking through objects and also the chakra pathway system, that is the vital lines that move chakra through all the body. Sharingan grants the user great awareness, hypnosis, and the ability to copy techniques. And then Haku's demonic mirroring ice crystals technique lets him move from one mirror to mirror lets him move from one mirror to the next at the speed of light. That's interesting. I keep forgetting that this statement is here, right? Usually when we talk about the statement for Haku being the speed of light, we're looking at his actual jutsu entry. It shows up again here, which is cool. I did get the, I think I did, right? I think I uploaded that. Yeah. Okay. I gotta update this website. So on my blog over here, I went through and I did this little analysis of whether or not the speed of light is correct phrasing, whether we should interpret it literally. So please, if you're interested in learning more about this, if you haven't already, check out mavensroost.info, go to the blog session, look for the translation thing about Haku's ice mirrors. I did the same thing that I did for Kirin, where I went through and I asked a bunch of different people on Fiverr, and then I asked 2 different AI translation tools to provide insight into whether or not they think we should use the phrase speed of light. Some people thought that it was literal, some people didn't. Some people thought it was literal, but shouldn't be interpreted literally, interestingly enough. So please check that out if you're interested in learning more about that. But yeah, it's worth noting, just to like be as transparent as possible, that there are technically two statements of Haku being the speed of light in the first Databook. One of them is his Jutsu entry, and here is the other one. I still don't think he's actually the speed of light. For reasons I explained in that blog post, and I can talk about more if you want, but I'm sure you've heard this before. Unlimited Void. Gojo got neg-diffed by low-level illusions. Oh, okay. And outsmarted by low-level tactics. Every time I've seen him so far, he's just been like this aloof. Like he shows up and he just wins, right? So I haven't really seen him on the ropes yet. Rangiku versus Onoki and looks maxing. Onoki beats like pretty much anybody. Onoki versus Kakashi. Onoki comes out on top. Obito versus Kakashi and outsmarting Obito low diffs. No, I don't think Obito's really that smart. I think he's kind of a dum-dum. But this is just my knee-jerk reaction. Feel free to prove me wrong. I don't really have a great argument. Sukuna versus Nietzsche and outsmarting Sukuna. I think Sukuna wins on intimidation factor. Ryomen Yagami versus Haku and looks maxing. Haku is right up there with Tonari in terms of like just having the best fit in the Naruto series. Although part 1 Anko's fit is actually like, I love her like mesh outfit. I wish I could pull off that look. I can't. I'm not going to try, but part of me wishes I could. Nagato has the most IM-14 SST plan for world peace, which ruins the story, as everyone after him just has his plan with like 2 changes each time it comes up. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there are definitely major flaws in his perspective, but it's worth studying that. I think the fact that despite the fact that well, I don't know, I think this could be an interesting subject for a debate or like a roundtable discussion or something at some point too. It's like, does Kishimoto significantly advance the existential dilemma beyond Nagato? Like, the villains of the story and the things that they're trying to confront or change, I feel like both Obito and Madara, especially since Obito is like manifesting as Madara, like role-playing as Madara for a good chunk of time, they're both, like you said, like retreading Nagato's conflict. So compare Nagato as a villain to Zabuza. Compare Zabuza to Orochimaru. Compare them to Sasuke, right? Nagato, Madara, and Obito kind of feel like they're all on the same page, right? No. Oh, what's so you don't feel, you're saying you don't feel like it's significantly advanced enough? I think that's fair, actually. I used to think that Jedi, says Omni, were above light speed until like 2 months ago. Turns out only Force sensitives can react to speeds at 900 kilometers per hour point blank, but that's only due to the precog force people get. Oh, okay, yeah, so I think that's very important too, is that this came up when we were talking about the novels, right? Some people argue that Naruto is, like, Hokage era Naruto is able to dodge photons even when he's unable to move to mold chakra. So just like in his base, like normal human form in the novel, because there's a character who shoots a photon gun at him and he's able to dodge. I don't know if you're here for the streams, but this happens in the Naruto Retsuden novel. And what actually happens is that characters have a thing that is called a photon gun, but the way that it works is that, like, they press the button to fire the gun. This little red indicator light shows up that indicates that it's heating up and it's about to fire, and then it fires. And the way that it fires is that it very rapidly heats things up. So Naruto is able to get out of the way of the people shooting at him and quote-unquote dodge the shots. That does not mean that he, like, perceives the photons as like, oh, I don't want to get hit by them shits, and then just like slides out the way, right? He's aware that he's about to get hit if he stays in his current place, and then he moves before the weapon fully spools up and discharges. So yeah, being able to precog or predict or just have any sort of perceptual advantage as to where the attack is coming from and when. Yeah, aim dodging, exactly. He's aim dodging it. That doesn't mean he's moving at the fucking speed of light, dodging photons and shit. Come on. Roman says Nagato's mainly just lashing out while hiding behind the facade as uncalculated composed god. I don't understand why you feel the need to slander my perfect, beautiful prince who has never done anything wrong, except for all the things he's done wrong. Interestingly, the Japanese doesn't actually specify from one mirror to the next here. It says allows instantaneous movement at the speed of light. Interesting. So I wonder, I genuinely wonder, like, where those additions come from. Like, I don't think that the people who translated this are, based on what I can tell, like have a malicious intent or are trying to sculpt the source material, right? They seem to me to be volunteering their efforts to just help us understand shit. So how do we get the introduction of phrases like that? Why did they feel that that was necessary? Did they translate the Jutsu entry first and then decide to add that phrasing here to give more context? I'm curious. Sorry says, okay, this has my full attention now. I mean, mostly I'm talking to your special lady about random zombie apocalypse nonsense because it's fun to make a hypothetical game plan just in case. Oh yeah, dude, totally. I won't bore you with the details, but I had a really cool dream last night that involved like alien invasion, zombie apocalypse mashup, really cool imagery and shit. And like, it's kind of fun to puzzle out sometimes. Like, how well would I actually do in this situation, right? Han Solo is not relativistic. Yeah, yes, thank you, preach. Dr. Strangle says, I think everyone misreads Madara as he kind of outright says he has moved past thinking world peace as possible. We get small indications as what he's after is just power. Yeah, I think he has that facade of being a savior, but also there's a part of him that just wants to fight. It just wants to test his limits, right? Alien zombies, yeah. That's I feel like if there isn't already a franchise out there that focuses on alien zombies, there probably should be. They're stated to be like 10 times light speed. Realman, you're talking about Star Wars characters? Nagato is bottom. Why did I invite this? I asked for this. Nagato's bottom one, Naruto villains, Madara on top. You physically wound me. You wound me greatly, sir, with this slander. Obito is a Red John victim. Who's Red John? Why do I know that name? Is that a One Piece dude? Oh yeah. Like Nagato, I mean, it's weird, right? Because like I really like Nagato's powers, his ability set. I like his presentation. Also, he was totally fine with just like blowing up a lot of kids. So I'm not a big fan of that. I can't say I really support him as a person. I just find him to be a compelling villain with really really cool power and ability set. And I think honestly, like his ability set is so busted. When you really break down everything he can do, that it's like, yeah, he's terrifying to go up against. I'm gonna take like a 10-second snack break. Sorry, I hope you guys can't hear my chewing on the microphone. Asking my partner what she wants for dinner as well. Breakdowns from guides talks about a physical phenomenon of plasma being thrown, which isn't even breaking 1,000 kilometers per hour. Only lasers for spaceships are light speed. Interesting. Yeah, I wish Darth Magog was here to weigh in on this because I don't really know much about Star Wars lore. Yeah. Continuing here, real quick. Tragic fate of those with special abilities. Hagu's clan had extraordinary powers. Due to that, they were manipulated by the powerful men of the Land of Water, who used them as weapons of war. The fighting reached such a point that the nation was ruined and the clans bearing Kekkei Genkai were humiliated and accused of bringing death and destruction. To protect themselves, they started hiding their lineage and lived afraid of being found out. Haku was almost killed by his father due to his lineage. Clans with special powers in Konohagakure. Konohagakure, the clans bearing Kekkei Genkai live normally, unlike in other countries where it's harder to survive without hiding your lineage. In fact, Konoha folk respects and fears the clans that inherited special abilities and considers them elite ninja. Inheriting your powers also depends on luck. Even if the parents have a Kekkei Genkai, nothing ensures that the children will inherit the same power. Not only that, there's no way to know when or how much power will awaken within oneself. There are no rules for Kekkei Genkai, and it depends on luck. Interesting. Sharingan inheritance is rare even among the Uchiha clan. The branch line overcame the main line. Neji learned Yashi's technique on his own. Cool. So I'm gonna put a timestamp in for this because really, when I said we're talking about the Jutsu entries, there's kind of two things we're talking about, right? We're talking about the actual Jutsu files, but then also this preamble that explains like the overall categorization of Jutsu and how they work in a more like open context, I guess. So yeah, my assessment of all this stuff is that it's fine to take it literally. There's nothing really here that stands out to me as requiring a whole lot of nuance. There's some phrasing that I would say, based on the translation, maybe we should be careful about. And there's certain things like the speed of light, which, for reasons I can get into later, I would not take literally. But for the most part, this is a great example of one of the many styles of writing that the databooks use, which then invites me to kind of try to use a tautology to explain how I feel about the databooks. The databooks are literal when they're being literal, and they're non-literal when they're being non-literal. Which is kind of a vapid statement in and of itself. But what I mean by that is that it's not necessarily safe to assume that any given statement should necessarily be taken literally or necessarily be rejected, because the databooks can use a variety of different types of language, as I've said before. And here's an example of a great part of the databooks that I would recommend just taking to face value. I don't have a problem with that. Right? So, let's see. Halos, floods are basically... Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point, Slimy Orb. Halos, floods are basically alien zombies, you're right. Certainly, maybe not the flood parasites themselves, but the resurrected bodies that the flood infect are then essentially alien zombies, right? 10 times to be light speed. Oh, the book. 1 second, let me get this set up again. So we're starting with the Naruto ring game, right? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I don't think this is a page that I should probably get translated as well, this 162, because it does... Fuck me. Sorry. I will fix this for next time. I'll buy a bracket to hold this shit up properly, so hopefully the noise wasn't too annoying in the microphone. But yeah, this is page 162. There's also a bunch of different information here, which I don't think has been covered about like how to interpret the jutsu. So it might be worth getting that translated to see what exactly is being discussed here. Anyway. Oh, he's the main antagonist of the Mentalist. Okay, sorry, I wasn't aware of that. The Mentalist says, oh my god, Ryomen with the rage bait again. Shinigami says it's going to be rage bait to think Obito is even relevant. Technical breakdowns from guys. Oh yeah, I mentioned that. Beyond birthday victim. We don't see non-force sensitives react to it, and the force sensitive are just using precog. That is definitely, at least from watching the original series. Well, so here's a question for you. You know that scene in the prequel where it's in the early part of the movie, probably like Act 1, where I think Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are in the droid control ship or whatever, or the Trade Federation ship, and there are those like Guardian battle droids that kind of roll around. They kind of look like pill bugs, and then they deploy, and they have shields, like barrier shields, and like powerful cannons, right? And there's a scene where they're like in the hallway, and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan just like dash away from them, and it seems they're moving at super speed. Do you think that they're using like a force speed amplification there, or do you think that that is just like an editing trick, like, or maybe even an editing mistake? I'm just kind of curious. How do you interpret moments like those? Because I honestly don't know what the correct interpretation is. I'm inclined to say it's probably just a quirk, and we shouldn't really take it all that seriously. But I don't know. It could be not the case. Blaster bolt statements later from being light speed. Okay. I'd be curious to hear that. John, you know I'm a Star Wars guy. You see my debates. I have sources for things. I have sources. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you sent me those really elaborate text debates. Those were super cool to see. I was genuinely impressed with all of the sources that you used, and I think that like some of the arguments went over my head, but I remember you using a lot of references from like games and the TV shows and the movies, and just like bringing everything in, and that's super cool to see all that data being brought to bear. Like really, really great work on that again. Obito's not bottom tier thanks to Zetsu. It's fair, yeah. As long as there should be like a Zetsu tier, like the bottom tier is just Zetsu tier. Anakin versus Prime Yoda. Anakin destroys. I don't really know for sure, but I feel like Anakin is pretty highly glazed, so I'm gonna err on the side of that. John wonders why I'm against the Naruto glazed in intelligence. There are definitely some characters in Naruto who are very smart. I think we can agree on that. Illness. Obito beyond birthday. Yeah, I can't really speak to that scaling, but it seems like you guys got a good combo going. Anakin was depending on mental state, honestly. Episode 3, Yoda also has statements being the strongest. Anakin versus Luke. I guess that's both. Oh, I thought by EU you meant like the European Union. So I thought you were gonna argue that like Anakin could just pick up Europe and chuck it at Luke. If you think about it, Naruto's smarter than Sasuke. He didn't need special eyes to take Lion's Barrage, while Sasuke needed them to take the primary Lotus. Yeah, that's one way to look at it for sure. I see the validity of it. I think that I wouldn't necessarily say that Naruto's smarter than Sasuke because of that. I think that Naruto has a different skill set, and he's able to innovate very cleverly with his with the limitations and abilities that he has. So Sasuke does intelligent stuff with what he has. Naruto does intelligent stuff with what he has, and in the end, I don't think their intelligence is like quantifiable one to one. It's like apples and oranges, but they are both tasty, nutritious fruit. Even though this is a bad analogy, I'm gonna move on. Zetsu is a fraud. Aizen broke his fucking hand and he did that. That's what legendary manipulators do. Shinichi legendary 3-1 comeback came back. I'll take your word for it. Oto is better than Aizen at manipulation. I don't have the context there. I'll have to take your word for that too. Qui-Gon and Obio using a specific ability called Force Speed. Oh, okay, gotcha. Gives you short bursts of speed. It's seen some other sources as well. I remember there being a Force Speed ability in the Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy games, but I wasn't sure if that was just like a gameplay addition. That's cool. Naruto's plot and fights are too contrived for me to independently say that they're super smart outside the statements they say. So, yeah, there are a lot of contrivances. I mean, like, I don't think that should necessarily, like I was talking to somebody about the fart moment in the Kiba fight, and I think some people look at that and they're like, Naruto won because of the fart, whereas I think he used a lot of intellect and cunning and intelligence to perform very well in the fight overall, and then the fart also was a lucky thing that happened that gave him an advantage. But let's poke at this a little bit, and then I'll catch up on chat in a sec. So, as we are going through the Jutsu entries, again, let's do a little exercise where, as folks like Sage, as folks like Sage have argued, there is an assumption, I think, or a conclusion, however you want to phrase it, in the community that because this is an official text, it's intended to inform, it's intended to explain things and not to mislead you, that we should take everything that we see literally for granted unless there's a reason not to. But part of the definition that Sage provided, that I've heard other people use as well, is that these texts, these data books, count as what is called an expository reference text. The nature of the writing itself is expository in nature, and therefore, because of its inherent nature, because of the category of literature that it falls into, it's appropriate to make assumptions about whether or not any given statement is true, unless proven otherwise. Now, one of the qualifying factors for being expository reference text is that you can't use a lot of hyperbole and metaphor. In the same way that, like, if I'm writing a non-editorial news article explaining what happened, like, there was a car crash on this street corner due to a drunk driver who caused an accident, right? I can say stuff like, this is where it took place, this is how many people were involved, and one person someone at the scene said that they were shocked. But if I start writing like, dude, this totally awesome fucking truck smashed the shit out of this piece of shit little, Honda, and then there was a fire and it was so fucking cool and awesome, it's like, that doesn't count, right? Even though I am explaining relatively accurately what happened, that language is inappropriate, and it starts to meld together with, it's inappropriate for that context, for the context of it being purely expository, and it starts to bleed into, like, overly excited, overly figurative speech that is not appropriate for that task. Same thing goes with writing encyclopedia articles or dictionary entries. Same thing goes with writing scientific publications. So the question that we should be asking here is, at what point do we start to feel like the use of metaphor and hyperbole and non-literal language is so much that we should question that assumption. Like, how many instances does the databook get to use, so to speak, before we're like, okay, this is clearly gone off the rails? And more to the point, which of these statements, if we start testing these statements, right, which of them actually correctly reflect the series and which of them don't, and why or why not? Scanning through your conversation here, and I'm not gonna get involved in the ice and shit, but that's cool. Manipulators, when I ignore whatever they say and punch them. I imagine you as being like Indiana Jones, like just shooting that dude who did all the elaborate sword moves, being like, I'm not fucking dealing with this, just like straight up blitzing it essentially. Just the drawing. No, it's not just a drawing. You have to draw your lines in the sand. We gotta scrap about it. Joe Goldberg versus Kakashi. I understood that. Reference. Let's see, make that a thing. John, do you have the Naruto region combo Databook entry translated as well by any chance? I do not. This is the... So this over here is just the fan translation on the fucking Naruto Versity. So it's their translation. Then I have the original over here. Let me see if I can get this like stretched out a little bit better for you. If you want it, it's on page 163. Feel free to take a screenshot. Or if you hit me up in Discord, I'd be happy to send you a screenshot of this. I could ask to have it translated, or, you know, we could at least use ChatGPT as an intermediary, not as an official final source. But yeah, let me know if you have any specific questions about it. And I'm happy to share the scan. At some point, like maybe over the summer, once work calms down, I want to scan everything I have. I want to take every novel, every... data book, every supplementary thing, and scan them all, and to be able to share them. But yeah, the question mark, no. Oh, is that in response to Ryomen? Darth Crate. I thought Crate was like a fucking... Oh, the region... Oh, I'm sorry. The region combo is different attack. Yeah, that should be in the fourth data book, right? I can take a look real quick. I don't have it translated myself. It would only be here, but I do have the Japanese for that if you want the scans. Region. Yeah, so is this the one that you were looking for? Surrounding with many shadows, the combo attack of Storm leaves no place to hide. When countless Kagebunshin have one intention and swing their fists, their attack becomes a storm and smashes the enemy. It's Naruto's ultimate taijutsu, who rapidly strengthened the Uzumaki Naruto combo, which was a strong point in the past according to the increment of the number of his Kagebunshin. This barrage boasts a power that equals even Lee's, who has a good command of the 8 gates, and the most difficult deed is to defend against it completely, because it can always attack from a blind spot. Moreover, during many battles, a cooperation attack by means of the Kagebunshin becomes possible since they learnt the most advanced movements. The translation does definitely come across as a little bit sketchy, so I think this is a good candidate for a retranslation. The Kagebunshin, which had surrounded the enemies, chased them no matter where they run. Well, this is not 100% true. They encircle them without leaving any place to run. Yeah, I think we talked about this on a previous stream too, but yeah. One attack after another from the one who took advantage of a blind spot, whether they were received or avoided. The combination of raging billows swoop down at the enemy one after the other without leaving time to rest, right? Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Hey Michael, how's it going? Thank you for checking out the stream. Hope you are having a great weekend. Rage Band of the Civil. Oh, you just like, he's gonna see that as a challenge, just so you know. Crate has a lot of very clear parallels to Sidious, has the same connected and gets powerful. This shows you how little I know about the shit. I thought Crate was like a dragon. I thought it was like the giant like lizard that the Mandalorian fights. This just shows you how little I fucking know about Star Wars. Yeah, the unescapable clones confirmed. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, the way that this is described, it's almost like an instant victory condition, because Naruto just attacks so often and so fast, and he comes from the blind spot. There's no chance to run. You can't get away from it. It's a storm. It's an attack of a storm, right? It's a good example of how silly things can get sometimes. Generally interesting how this worked, as Naruto's clones only have the same output as Lee. Right, exactly. So I think, again, like, the risk here is to be like, I am a fan of Lee, there is a direct equivalency being made here between Lee and Naruto. Therefore, Lee is Sage of Six Paths versus Kaguya levels of power. Like Lee is Lee's taijutsu is on this level, which it just isn't, right? Like, we can verify that. We can go back and like actually check and test that. And that's, look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lee is actually as strong as Sage of Six Paths Naruto in terms of taijutsu. I don't fucking think so. What I'm advocating for is maybe we should be curious and not take shit like this at face value. And anytime we notice something like this that seems a little suspect, we should go and check, because the databook can be silly sometimes. So let's just go double check, and let's make sure we're being thorough and we understand things in context. We don't have to throw the whole fucking thing out, but we shouldn't also just like gobble it up without thinking about it, right? It's directly tied to force power as well. Maul struggles with people below Mace, creators like narratively parallel. Makes sense. Zetsu is over. Fucking Zetsu's not over Johan. Fuck that. Absolutely not. Zetsu is like doesn't really get much done compared to Johan. There's no fucking context. He was named after the crate dragons. Oh, okay, gotcha. Cool. Yeah. I'm really bummed. I was supposedly gonna have a chance to work on the whatchamacallit, the Knights of the Old Republic remake. I was working for a company that was doing subcontracting, and we were in talks to jump on and help them out. And one of the first things that we were supposed to work on was a crate dragon. And then it just never happened. And it's like, don't even tell me that it's an option, because I don't want to fucking know that it could have been. Fuck you. Like, I'd just rather not ever know about it. But our team leader was like so hyped about it. I was like, oh my god, guys, we're gonna get to do this, and then we didn't. So thanks. Thanks, Billy. Anyway, need to do something better for me to fall for the rage bait. Again, he's just gonna see this as a challenge to don't provoke him, don't feed the troll. Larry says, do we have a data book about why characters don't wear socks? Yeah, actually, I might have that. One second. It's in the fan book. I think we talked about, like, I jokingly mentioned this somewhere, that maybe it was on Eon's stream, that like fucking Kishimoto just really likes drawing toes. He's just like, you know, he and Miyazaki would get along very well. Okay, so I got the fan book here. There is definitely an entry about... Oh, first, you should also read the fan books, and this is why. One reason why. Totally bitchin' ramen recipes. Look at that. Look at that tasty bowl of ramen. Let's see. Is it here? Maybe not. I thought it was here. So on page 36 of the first fan book, we got shit like this. It says leg bandages. Wrapping these around the legs prevents cuts even in the tall grass and makes it easy to move. I thought for sure there was something there about like why the sandals are open-toed. I guess not. It might be in the art book too. That's something we should do. I should do a stream where we like go over the art books. I also have the fucking anime profile guides and stuff like that, and the cookbook. we should do a cooking stream, Naruto cooking stream. There's a bunch of stuff over here that's like sort of useful, sort of relevant, but nothing about the sandals specifically. Sasuke can run away better. It's crazy. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I think I'm like 99% sure there is something like it might be just like one of the design elements. Like, hi, I'm Kishimoto. This is why I decided to draw this character this way. Yeah, Toasty. We're talking about the real important hard-hitting shit over here. Only the most meta arguments. One second. I wanted to look in the back of the third data book. I got nothing. I will go on a toe related quest just for you and see if I can find some more toe data for you going forward. Lee would beat up Kaguya. No fucking way. I'm not falling for that, Ryomen. Would fight Naruto evenly in taijutsu. No, absolutely not. I'm not taking the bait. You can use this to upscale Lee to further upscale Guy to further upscale Madara Sunstra. Yeah, totally. I mean, like, honestly, I don't have a problem with with Lee punching through the planet. Why not? Struggles with Qui-Gon. Obi doesn't one-shot his Padawan. Guy no diff comps Naruto and Sasuke. Crates are also dragons. Darth Crate just named himself. Oh, okay, gotcha. He's a Tusken Raider. Nice. I was TPM Mom. Oh, you really gotta go? Yeah, no problem. Thanks for hanging out with us. Take care. Maybe not Naruto, depending on the starting distance. That's a good point. Like, starting parameters definitely play a huge role. Well, they can play a significant role depending on the nature of the conflict. The creator just wanted to flex. Yeah, I think we talked about that recently, right? It's like, wasn't it one of those things kind of like the goggles where initially he just drew it because he drew them that way because he enjoyed drawing it, but then later he's like, fuck, I gotta draw these motherfuckers' toes every single time, and kind of regretted it. They don't wear socks so that I can collect temari. Okay, no. I'm not gonna shame you, but I'm also that's not my particular preference. So I will leave that uncontested. I will leave it up to you to wave that particular flag there. It's ramen time, dude. I now I really want some ramen. Honestly, I might make some after the stream. Let's get more difficult. I feel like TSO is better. Good point about the TSO. TSOs are so broken. Michael says every Naruto character wearing toeless shoes makes it hard to take them seriously. At least Soul Reapers have socks. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Especially when I know I'm thinking of Sekiro, but yeah, like you're just making yourself more vulnerable, right? Like you're by exposing a part of your body unnecessarily. So I really want to know like why the design choice was made. Okay, I don't really have much to contribute to the Star Wars things, but I enjoy seeing the discussion. 4 below TPM. How about No says on the region combo thing potentially means a specifically Lee when fully utilizing the 8 gates. 8 gates Lee being relative to Shadow Clone doesn't seem all that crazy. Possibly. Do you think it's like at 8th gate level, right? The thing about that is that we never see Lee go beyond the 6th gate as far as I can recall. So I would figure that would be what they're referring to, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Wearing no socks is better for me. Well, socks and sandals would be in the Narutoverse would be sketchy, to say the least. Seeing people still talk about Coraline. Oh, Coraline! Yeah, I fucking love Coraline. I barely remember that movie. I was basically a baby when it released, but seeing people still talk about it, making videos. The animation is fucking amazing. And it's pretty. It deals with some pretty interesting themes. It's really creepy. It's really well realized. It's quite a beautiful movie. I actually now I kind of want to go. I just saw your fucking sniff a comment. How about no? Well done sneaking that in there. The Crippers. Something. Kiba letting the dogs out. I hate that I said that out loud. But there you go. This is a feet fan friendly stream, even if I am not one myself. Very explicitly not one myself. Okay, should we talk about some fucking jutsu now? It's only 3 hours in that we're finally starting to talk about this. So actually, we're doing good considering that this is a John stream, right? Actually, going pretty fast. Naruto combo. Okay, let's get through this. Uzumaki Naruto combo. Sequence of 5 strikes with Shadow Clones. The technique is performed in 5 with the help of Shadow Clones. 4 of them kick up the enemy following the rhythm of the cry Uzumaki. Finally, the 5th one somersaults and hits the opponent with the heel. The name of the blow is plagiarized from the Lion combo from Sasuke, but the technique itself is from Naruto. It's a brilliant idea that combines ninjutsu with taijutsu. You need 5 of them to strike at the pace of Uzumaki Naruto combo. Simultaneous attacks with 4 clones, it is similar to the preparation of Rock Lee's Front Lotus. So overall, a pretty straightforward entry, not all that much to say. However, notice, it's a brilliant idea that combines ninjutsu with taijutsu. That phrasing, that language there, is pretty subjective, right? It's not something that you would see in, like, a news article or a scientific paper necessarily. That is more of an opinion. It's more of a personal take, and it is in line with what Naruto himself might actually say in description of his own technique. We talked about that last time, about how like Naruto's entry has phrasing that kind of gasses him up and talks about him in a fun light. And Choji's as well. Choji's entry is like has some tongue-in-cheek like meta jokes about Choji himself. Some of the articles or some of the entries tend to be written as though they are coming from the character's own point of view, which is interesting. Reverse Lotus Urarenge. Oh yeah, let me put the page here. Okay. I mean, like the art is so cool. The way that it's formatted. Look at the way that like they have Gaara's gourd kind of like popping out of the frame here in this little captioned image. This is great. The second Lotus that exceeds the body limits. It's Lee's ultimate weapon, which makes continuous attacks possible, unimaginable for an ordinary person, by opening the gates inside the body called 8 Gates. He flies about with a speed that even Gaara's sand can't match, and he gives the enemy caught by the bandages after receiving countless attacks a blow with all his might. So notice the double exclamation marks, right? Not that that means that it's non-factual, but it is like we are moving away from a territory where we are just literally describing how things work mechanically to now using more hyped up language, which is exemplified by the use of like different punctuation as well. That kind of formatting is something that you would not see in like a scientific paper, right? Just to be very clear. It being Lee's ultimate weapon, maybe. I think that's probably just fine. He flies about, okay, that's figurative language, with the speed that, well, maybe, it's debatable. Caught by the bandages after receiving countless attacks. Countless, not a big deal, but that is kind of figurative language as well. So this is mostly literal, right? But it does have a couple like sprinkles here and there, a couple hints here and there of like, yeah, we're going to have fun with this, right? We're not, this isn't just a dictionary entry. We're going to have kind of fun in how we describe what happens here. The Lotus, both the front and the reverse, are considered forbidden jutsu. The technique guy transmitted to his favorite student. His facial expression is full to the brim of tension. Yep. Some nice, vivid imagery there. The fourth gate of pain open. In the front Lotus, he's limited to open the first gate, but as the reverse Lotus opens as far as the third gate. But he's also got the fourth gate open there. Is this right? The fourth gate? The reverse Lotus removes the limiters that are naturally imposed to the human body and relaxes an even excessive energy. Releases an even excessive energy. Of course, the body of the user can't completely put up with the heavy pressure of that energy, and there's the danger that it collapses. Therefore, it's considered a forbidden jutsu, but Lee activates this taijutsu with a death without surrender resolution in order to enforce his ninja way. And as the end of the heroic act that is passing out while standing... I don't know where the rest of this text is. Okay. A double-edged sword that removes every limiter. It doesn't remove every limiter. That's not true, because there are still more limitations in place. As well, like getting up to the fourth gate does not count as removing every limiter. By definition, there's still 4 more fucking gates. A double-edged sword, figurative language. It accurately describes what's happening, figuratively, by describing the pros and cons of this dangerous, forbidden technique. This is kind of hard to read over here. At Lee's figure, who stood up even when he had... I need new glasses. He had lost consciousness. I give up. He lost consciousness even when Guy Sensei cries out loud. Okay. After the battle, even if he had been diagnosed as beyond recovery, Lee never gave up. Let me finish this and I'll check on chat. The cornerstone of the activation of the Lotus, the 8 gates formation, 8 gates release formation. 8 gates whose locations are called Gate of Opening, Healing, Life, Pain, Limit, View, Wonder, and Gate of Death, restrain and control the chakra that flows inside the human body, namely the 8 gates, destroying forcibly these gates, which are functioning naturally, and wrenching them open with chakra, is the essential point of the reverse Lotus. When all the 8 gates are open, it's called 8 gates released formation, and when the users of this technique arrive to the situation, they put even their own life at risk. Okay, so notice that it's subtle, right? Because we still haven't gotten into the really crazy stuff yet. But notice the distinction between the way that like this text over here and this text over here compares to this text over here. For this stuff, it's kind of describing the fucking technique in a more like hyped up, almost like esoteric or exotic way. And this is just explaining the mechanics of it. So this is something to be aware of when you're using the data books. You have to develop the ability to learn to differentiate between when the data books are using hype language and not. And I do basically kind of agree with folks like Sage who are out there saying like, you know, you can start from a default assumption that things are true unless proven otherwise within a very specific context. Meaning like I don't personally feel the need to scrutinize this overly much. But the reason why I'm scrutinizing this part, and or not scrutinizing this part, but I am scrutinizing this part, is because of the type of language that's being used. It's because of the way that it's being formatted and the way that it is kind of, how can I say, like the tone and the style of narration that's being provided. This is just a narration of facts as far as I can tell. So I tend to be more accepting of them. This is using a different style of language, so I am more skeptical of them, of the language that is being used. Now, at the end of the day, appearances can be deceiving. So this might actually be totally legitimate and accurate, and this might be total bullshit, right? Like, it's not in this particular case, but like I know that one of the gates is called the Gate of Shock in the official translation, as opposed to the Gate of View. I don't think Gate of Limit and Gate of View are ones that that show up in the official translation. It's like Gate of Joy and Gate of Shock, right? So you could say that that's inaccurate, but even something like a character's height or weight might be inaccurate. There's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being curious and skeptical and going and double checking. So let me. I probably shouldn't show this one in the book for YouTube reasons. So I'll skip to the next one, but let's read these two and then I'll flip. Let me check chat real quick. Maybe if the Naruto cast wore something like toe shoes or wide flat shoes, they would be more visually palpable. Ugh, I don't know if I like the use of the term palpable in reference to toes, but I agree with what you're saying. Just something about when I think of palpable, I think of like an octopus or something like something pulpy and squishy. It's like ugh. Okay, this this stream has definitely gone places tonight, but you're not wrong. The current character you're designing doesn't wear shoes. That's fine. They don't have to wear shoes. Kiba, aka the guy who makes Renji W. I'll take your word for it. Slimy Orb says, I think I realized something. Obito might be the only non-Otsutsuki to have made a Truth Seeker orb near the end of chapter 665. He turns some of Black Zetsu into one. Oh, that's fucking cool. I didn't realize that. Well, Madara also makes one, right? Like, he's got his and Naruto has his. So, yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Maybe could you give me some more context? Yeah, I don't know Bleach, unfortunately. Ryomen, Kakazu doesn't have fucking, come on. He has truth-seeking orbs. He has like little pets that he takes very, very bad care of. If there's a Naruto universe ASPCA, the motherfucker's going to get clocked and booked and thrown in jail. If I have anything to say about it, yeah, send him back to jail for animal abuse. Like this motherfucker over here is like, he can't even take care of his pets. He sucks. I like Kakazu, but come on, take better care of your menagerie. A brilliant idea. Watch out, guys. We got a genius over here. Yeah, exactly. And Naruto's like the actually of the series. Oh yeah, I see your combo, Sasuke, but actually it's meant to be done this way. And Naruto tries to upstage him. Sorry, it says fun fact, in the Naruto Storm games, if you play as a 6-path Naruto, his grab is a revamped version of the barrage. Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's really cool. There's so many cool little bits and what do you call it? Like Easter eggs. I saw a compilation of like other different not bloodline limits, awakenings and stuff like that, and different characters will have different reactions to characters' jutsu if they're like they have plot connections, you know. It's really cool. Tim versus I somehow feel like you wouldn't really object much to that, Ryomen. Epsilon, I haven't really played the Storm games much. I played a little bit of for and connections, but more as part of research that I was doing at the time, and mostly to just like check out. I was responding to a video by Von Key where he was talking about like which character was the strongest, which combination jutsu was the strongest, and I went and fact checked him by like going through all the different attacks and like writing down their damage numbers and something like that. So I've played enough to know how to move the character around and do damage. But that's pretty much it. Really suck. I used to play. I don't know what they were called, but the video game club that I was a part of in college had like a Japanese imported fighting game that I would play with, and I always played as like Orochimaru because he had this ability that he would like teleport behind the other person. So I would never really win, but I would just like constantly teleport behind people and piss them off and just dodge them. I would win the psychological warfare. Let's see, taking everything as fact to scale the verse as high as possible. Yeah, that's what I'm cautioning against. Epsilon is just getting crazy with it. You know what I mean? Makima versus Sukuna and Gojo. Makima, I think, like, would actually do pretty damn well in the Naruto universe, just based on her ability to manipulate people. Because clearly, like, characters in Naruto are vulnerable to that sort of thing. Note, original Japanese isn't the limiter. A limiter is equally valid as a translation and more accurate. Yeah, I agree with that. That makes sense. Fucking raw durability, Kakuzu. Yeah. Obito stabbed Madara. He turned some kind of black Zetsu into an orb. Naruto and Madara never made any orbs. Oh, I see. So you're saying like he made his own. That's cool. I like that. Gonna bounce for the evening. Yeah, stay healthy, stay hydrated, get good sleep. Thanks for spending some time with us. Have a good one. Brilliant idea is the translation only. It's more so just skillfully combined. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, Von Key mentioned. Yeah, I don't get along with that guy, unfortunately. I do appreciate that he tends to reach far and wide for his sources. He brought things to my attention that I was not aware of, like things from the games and certain like crossover media and stuff like that. But I think his argumentation comes across to me as being very incurious and dishonest. I very strongly disagree with his takes, and I really can't stand the way that he at least engage with me personally. It's like, hey, I think that this is not the case. I just check this. And his, like, if you make a statement, fuck. I guess I don't really want to get into this drama, but like just the way that he responded to some of the feedback that I gave him, like immediately going for like, this is a blatant lie. You're just out here coping, like that kind of language. Something's up with that guy. Like, I can't get along with him for whatever reason. I'd like to, but I tried and it didn't go anywhere. So, sexy technique. His talent for pranks led him to imagine this attractive technique. With the help of the transformation technique, Naruto transforms into a perfect girl. Disagree with that. Its proportions are whoa, and his chest just something oof. A super sexy girl like you've never seen before. You don't know what I've fucking seen. It's fascinating, debatable. Even Master Hokage does not remain insensitive to such charms, and blood rises in his face. Even the most powerful ninjas are tricked by this technique. That is true. Jiraiya, the third Hokage, and other Jonin. Although I don't think Madara is falling for this shit. Or maybe Hashirama would be, like, surprised by it. Naruto taught the sexy technique to Konohamaru. It's wow, too, but not as much as Naruto yet. So this is what I mean, right? Like, this entire entry is just goof central. It's goofy, it's funny, it's silly, it's jokey, right? Like, none of this is this represents the ethos, the overall the overall like design or whatever, the overall experience of being on the receiving end of this jutsu. But none of this is just like literal dry academic language. Oh, you're right, Slimy, you're right. B is canonically immune to it. Well, I guess that means that B isn't one of the strongest ninjas. I can just hear the fucking arguments now before we even get through the point, right? But yeah, I've had this like low-key discussion with people before about like if they think Madara would be stunned by it. I don't think he would. I think he would just be like, a paltry parlor trick. This won't work on me. I'm too aloof and cool. You never know. Haze clone technique. Let me see if I can show. I'm probably worrying too much. I can probably show it. Nah. I'll just show the page. I don't want to risk it for you to. Yeah. Sorry. So the haze clone technique is on page 167. If you want to check that out, feel free. I can send you a scan, but I'm nervous about just showing it on YouTube because it's relatively expository. Haze clone technique, becoming 1,000 hazes and bewildering the enemy. At first glance, it seems like a regular clone technique, but the haze clone uses a cunning trap to lure out the enemy. Using this jutsu with underground projection fish technique, a ninjutsu using movement through the ground to attack the enemy is led to believe that the real body is among the clones. During the illusion and resulting chaos, the enemy who is caught up in the jutsu is easily defeated. Okay, so again, let's be clear. Becoming 1,000 hazes, this is not necessarily literally true. We could go back and count and see if there are actually 1,000. I don't think that there are actually 1,000 clones. And then also, the enemy is not categorically easily defeated, necessarily. I mean, we only ever see this used on Naruto, and Naruto winds up subverting the jutsu, and then he and, like, Kabuto, Sasuke, and Sakura wind up winning this encounter. So this is false, right? The overall description of how it works and how it can be used with other things makes sense. That's fine. But we don't want to take everything here literally, because some of it is just literally not true. This is not true. This is false. While attention is drawn to the clone, the real body attacks from the blind spot. That's fine, as the haze clones are not physical bodies. Attacking them is useless. The attack just passes through uselessly. I mean, that's fair, right? If you physically attack them, nothing will happen. However, imagine Naruto going into 3 or 4 Tails Rampage mode and firing a fucking Biju Bomb. That wouldn't necessarily be useless if the Biju Bomb was large enough to do collateral damage to the actual caster. So, again, I don't think anybody is going to make this mistake, mostly because people don't really scale these characters that I've really seen. But the thing to avoid here is taking stuff like this literally. And if you just go through and do this mental test, okay, what happens? What happens if I take this literally? Does it accurately represent the series? Why or why not? What happens if I take this sentence literally? And just go through one by one, you'll start to realize, okay, well, the reason why we take some things literally and other things not is because some of it does reflect the series accurately and some of it doesn't, and we need to calibrate our expectations accordingly. So yeah, Front Lotus is next. Let me check up on chat real quick. Naruto transformed to Hashirama. Oh yeah, you're actually probably right. If he transformed to Hashirama, he wasn't immune to Tsunade. True. Agree. Oh, that's true. He did. And also he did sneak a glance at Yugito as well. So I think he's affected by it, but he's stoic enough to not let it show, if that makes sense. Epsilon says, Key has a very big range of sources, even if they aren't valid. Genuinely interested in those Naruto mobile games he showed. Yeah, so I liked that. I liked that about his video, that the fact that he brought up stuff that I'd never heard of, or that other people wouldn't have brought up. I don't know if you were there for those streams, but one example of the sort of thing that I found kind of irritating is that he would show an example of like Kaguya using an ability and then it breaking, like it having this like screen break effect, like it was breaking the camera that your in-game camera that was showing you the battlefield in the game, and then he'd be like, see, Kaguya broke the whole game, so she's out reversal or boundless or whatever the fucking term he used, right? But then, like, if you actually play the game itself, she uses that ability and then it doesn't even destroy the planet that they're on, right? Like, she'll use it and then it'll do a lot of damage, but it, like, doesn't necessarily kill people. It doesn't necessarily destroy the planet. It doesn't actually have that effect of destroying the universe itself. A much better explanation for what happens is that the camera that is watching the battlefield, quote unquote, the game camera, gets destroyed, and then another one gets replaced, right? Like takes its place, because they are still on the same exact battlefield and they still keep on fighting. Similarly for Obito, right? Like he had some argumentation about Obito cutting the moon with his sword in Naruto Mobile, and saying that he was like moon level as a result or something like that, but he doesn't actually slice through the moon. He kind of like does, first of all, it's not Obito himself, it's like an alternate version of Obito called like Ronin Obito that was specifically created for Naruto Mobile, so it's not even a canonical character. But this version of Obito has this sword, which he doesn't have in the main series, and he does this thing where he stands in front of the moon and then he draws, yeah. So he was saying that like Obito sets the moon on fire, but what actually happens is that he stands on this tree trunk and then he creates like a circle of fire with his sword, and the fire is around him, but it's silhouetted against the moon, so it looks like it's on fire. But the moon doesn't take any damage. The fire isn't on the moon. The moon doesn't burn up or anything like that. It's an illusion that Obito is creating based on the perspective of the camera, and where he's standing, right? And he just also conveniently happened to stop playing the trailer footage before we saw the scene where the fire dissipates and the moon is still intact, right? So like he just cherry picks and he slices things up. He doesn't provide the actual context for what he's talking about, and he misrepresents it. And then when you call him out on it and like, hey dude, this is just like not true, he immediately goes like, this guy's just lying, he's a liar, it's a blatant lie. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not. I literally just watched this. I watched it over and over again to make sure that I got it right. I went back, then watched your shit again, and then went back and watched it again just to double check. And even if I got it wrong, that's fine. It doesn't mean I'm fucking lying. Like I hate it when people do that, when they're like, you know, you disagree with me, so you are a liar, you're a manipulator. You disagree with me, so you don't have you know, you don't have good intentions or whatever. It's like, deal with the fucking argument. Stop deflecting. It's so frustrating. You're just trying to have a conversation with somebody about something you have like a shared passion for. You're trying to help them understand things better. You're trying to test your own understanding, and it gets so fucking personal and skeezy like so fast for no fucking reason. We're talking about manga, right? It's such a fucking bizarre way to act. Anyway, no woes in Japanese, unfortunately. Sad. Tsunade is canonically over Naruto since she raised to be, and Naruto couldn't. Yeah, and Naruto, well, Naruto was Hokage level from part 1, right? Because he knocks out Hiruzen, and it does actually mention that even the old man Hokage, right, is yeah, the third Hokage, another joining. So very, very powerful part 1 Naruto. Kaguya can't handle this jutsu. Yeah. It's Naruto himself says it's more powerful the stronger the enemy. What do you think of Madara's still a virgin? I don't really have thoughts on that. I think it's possible. I think he loved Hashirama, and I think that he didn't get to pursue that love, and so he probably, I mean, like, he didn't have any children as far as we know, so I don't know. It's hard for me to see Madara as a romantic. I guess that's all I'll say. Kaguya can handle the jutsu. Maybe with Naruto, he knows it's a guy and he's in fruity. Maybe. Although Jiraiya didn't seem to mind. Naruto Uzumaki is not even island level and relativistic. Oh yeah. I think he could be island level. I haven't done the calcs or whatever, but when you look at shit like a single, like what that single Rasen Shuriken does when it cuts through the God Tree, and you figure he can like throw out a barrage of those and to keep on going, I think he can destroy mountains for sure. I don't know what the size of those mountains are, whether it qualifies as mountain level in the power scaling sense, but I don't have a problem with him being island level. I don't even have a problem with him being like small country level. If what the Ten Tails can do with its explosions counts as small country level, which I don't know if it does, but like those big massive like the one that blows up the shinobi headquarters and kills Shikaku, right? If that's small country level, then I have no problem putting Naruto small country level. But like once you get to planetary, we're talking ridiculousness, in my opinion. If you disagree, feel free. Von Key probably talked with too many YouTube goons, pardon him. Yeah, like again, I wish we were in the parallel timeline where he and I got along, because I think he has a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, and he presents a lot of really interesting stuff that I hadn't heard about. I think he overall is contributing something positive by exposing us to information that we wouldn't have otherwise considered. He should get credit for that, like legit. He should get credit for the research and the dedication to accumulating his sources. So I don't know why. I don't understand why things went the way they did. Maybe someday we'll reconcile and figure it out. I don't know. Yeah, Shinigami. The key that we're talking about is he has like a shark logo for his profile picture. He does the video I'm talking about is the true scale of the Naruto universe, or how powerful is the Narutoverse exactly, right? Um, Shinigami, I would encourage you to take a break. I think you've done great work. Ultimately, if you're feeling like the fire is still burning, you want to keep going, then go for it. But it's pretty late for you right now, right? So I would encourage you to take a break and to just celebrate your victory, so to speak. Hey there, 7 Ultra. How's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the stream. Hope you are having a good night. I haven't tried talking to him on Discord. I'd be open to it for sure. I think I am finding that like the comments section is just oftentimes not a good place to have a conversation. Um, People have been nice in my comments, and we've had productive dialogue sometimes, but it can be very tough to keep a thread of a conversation going in the fucking comment section. I'll acknowledge that. And I will acknowledge that when you put out a video that you put a lot of time and effort into, and then somebody responds and the only thing that they say is, oh, you're wrong about this and you didn't get that right, wrong, and that's just completely stupid, like it can be frustrating. It can be demoralizing. And so I genuinely never want to talk down to anybody or make them feel bad about the hard work that they did. I think I have to be honest with myself and admit that sometimes maybe I can come across that way, and I'm sorry if I do. But I don't think that his response was really necessary either, you know what I mean? That being said, 10 Tails Nays Naruto, I don't know about that. I will say I've been chatting a little bit with Sage on Discord, and I appreciate the time that he's taken to engage in the conversation. That's been positive so far. I think it would be good if we could have a VC, but both of us are super busy, so it's just like we've talked about it, about getting into a VC at some point, but it's just been hard to coordinate. So what I might do, well, I don't want to speculate too much. I think it would be nice and positive if we could have a chat in like a friendly, mutual, neutral server. But coordinating that is going to be challenging over the next month, so we'll see. In the meantime, I appreciate the dialogue. I'm going to give myself a little 5-minute break. Not exactly. I'm still going to be here, but I think I'm going to order some food because I'm not going to have time to make anything probably after the stream. Got other stuff to do too. So bear with me for a second as I figure out what I'm going to do with myself here. Or maybe not. There's not a whole lot of stuff that's open, unfortunately. Anyway, yeah, so give me like 2 minutes. I'm gonna just have a drink of water and see if there's anything I can find to eat around here. And we'll get started again in just a sec. Hope you guys are doing well in the meantime. It's always fun to talk about this stuff, even if I get worked up sometimes. One fucking Domino's. Honestly, I just, like, ever since we started talking about ramen, I just want some, like, udon or something, some noodles. But there's nothing here. Probably just make some pasta after the stream. Yeah, okay, sorry for kind of getting distracted. I guess I didn't really find anything that I want, so. Yeah, good night. Shinigami, have a great night. Rest up. Feel good. Currently judging a debate, Criminal versus Nirvana Rain. Nirvana Rain, why does that name sound familiar? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Nirvana Igneal. Gun Devil versus Falling Devil. Criminal has gun. Interesting, yeah. I'd be curious to hear that. Getting key to VC would be some great content for the both of you, probably. Yeah, I'd love that. Honestly, like, I say I'd love that, and that I love that in theory. I really like talking about Naruto with people, so I would be happy to have the conversation. I have zero fucking interest in having a shouting match, or in, like, getting into personals and, like, attacking each other. So if that's what it becomes, then I'm out. Like, I just don't want to spend my life engaging in that kind of shit. But if it can be cordial, then sure, happy to. Okay, so finally an hour later. Front Lotus. Blossoming on the ground stands a one-hit kill flower. Okay, so we're this is a great example of something that's going in the other direction in terms of style of language. Lee doesn't literally blossom, he's not literally a flower, and it doesn't literally one-hit kill anybody. A prohibited art that won't allow for inertia. That's an awkward phrase. I'm not even sure how to interpret that. After the shedding of much blood, sweat, and tears, Lee mastered this kenjutsu. To use only to protect someone precious to you, says his master guide. For starters, he tosses the enemy high in the air, pushing them with an upwards kick from below, and tailing them with the shadow of the dancing leaf movement technique. Then, he captures them, wrapping bandages around them in midair. He holds the enemy tightly in his arms, adds a spinning motion, and plummets headfirst straight into the ground. The reasons why Lee can use this ultra high level special taijutsu is none else than his off the charts speed and thorough understanding of the taijutsu's APCs. He prepares front lotus with a kick. From there, the higher the enemy goes, the more powerful it gets. Then he falls at high speed. He won't even give the slightest of pauses to the enemy. Okay, so how do we interpret this? How do we use this for a power scaling context, right? Tosses the enemy high into the air. Sure. Pushing them with an upwards kick from below? Sure. Tailing them with a shadow dancing leaf movement technique? Sure. This is all a description of just what happens factually. And we can go and we can look in the manga pages and we can test it and see if that winds up being the case. But as you can see here, we have literal imagery that these are just essentially copy pasta from the series itself that, that explains how the shit works. Okay. Now, mixed in with this is some language that we should be a little bit more curious about, let's just say. Blossoming. One-hit kill flower. Won't allow for inertia. Off the charts speed. Okay. So, off the chart speed. Haku has a speed of 5, I believe. Just see. Okay. Haku has a speed of 4. Speed of 4. And Kakashi, what is his speed? Kakashi has a speed of 4 as well. Okay, so this would mean that not only, if we take this literally, this would mean that Lee is not only a bracket higher in speed than either Haku or Kakashi, but also that his speed is higher than anyone else who is not explicitly mentioned as being off the charts. Now, to be clear, I don't actually believe this. I'm pointing this out as satire, essentially, right? The mistake that we need to avoid making here is to take, if we take this literally and say, okay, if he's off the charts, well, the charts are here on the page. That means he's too fast to be quantified by these charts, so it means he's faster than Kakashi, faster than Guy, because Guy, I think, has a 5, right? Character. He's not called My Guy, just Guy? Oh, he's just Guy, yeah. Guy has a 5 speed, but it's still on the chart. It's still on chart, so he's faster than his sensei. Like, no, obviously not, right? So, and now you might be saying, okay, well, John, that's clearly silly. Like, you're clearly being ridiculous. Like, nobody would ever do that. I fucking heard people say that. I've heard people do this in debates, dude. Like, I'm not making this up. Going back to, like, some of Noodles' early debates, he'll do shit like that. He would find a definition. Like, this is not a specific example, the specific thing he did, but this is something that other people have done too, where they'll go and they'll be like, okay, it says that Minato's fucking flying Raijin transcends the concepts of time and space. Therefore, Minato is at least the speed of light with his, like, just, like, casually speed of light, but probably actually boundless. Because they'll just take it in the most literal way possible. I've seen people do this, like, use very specific extracted hyperliteral phrasing to try to clear points like this. Don't do that, please. Like, hopefully I don't have to explain why that's a problem. Okay. I think the Gun Devil destroys. The thing is, we don't really get to see the Gun Devil's full power, right? So I think based on what I remember seeing, well, the Gun Devil can also, like, fly, right? So, and, like, hover. So I think of all the people that the Falling Devil would actually be very effective against, I don't think the Gun Devil is one of them. I think he probably has a typing advantage, so to speak, over the Falling Devil. But I think the Falling Devil, well, I don't know. Now I'm thinking of like all the shit that the Gun Devil does. Yeah, I don't know. Well, then I think, wasn't it Key actually who said that the Falling Devil is actually like planetary or something, or like multi-continental because of the like seismic activity. I might be making that up. Somebody in a previous stream said something about like apparently the Falling Devil was calced at by someone at like multi-continental because of the seismic shit that that she causes. I don't know. Lee Solo's Barry on Arts. Okay. I'm not even gonna argue with you there. You can win by default. I unironically have 8th Gate Lee over Barry on Naruto. Care to elaborate on that? I'm curious. I can see an argument for that. It depends on how high Naruto's durability is, in Baryon mode, which I don't know how high it scales actually. I wonder if someone had a clone use the 8th gate, would that work? Oh. Intuitively, I want to say no, but I don't know why it wouldn't, because it's not exactly a one-to-one comparison, but given that like Madara's Susanoo can use Madara's wood clones can use Susanoo. And Naruto's shadow clones can also use a QB cloak. Then yeah, I think they probably could. I think so. Yeah. I don't know if I could prove it, but it feels right. Prohibited art that won't allow for nurses just made up whole cloth. What the heck? Yeah, it's really weird. I wasn't sure what to make of that. Speed is not described as off the charts. So yeah, that's another layer to this, is that if you're going to use fan translations, it's worth getting a second opinion. As sincere and genuine as the efforts of the original fan translators may have been, there are instances here where we just don't even know like what their process or what their thinking was. And so it behooves us to double check. Not just the data book itself, but to double check the translations. And so one of the things I do find frustrating about the way that some people approach this shit is that when they... Look, I'm guilty of this too. Like, I'm not calling anybody out, but it's something that we should be aware of, is that a lot of times when something fits our agenda or our preconceived notion or our goal, we don't really question it too much because it's like, oh, cool, well, that helps. That seems to check out. I can use that. But then when something goes against our agenda, we tend to be highly skeptical and critical of it and much harder to convince. And that is an entirely normal, entirely understandable, entirely common and mundane human impulse, right? So I'm not calling anybody out for this, but it's something that we should be aware of and that we shouldn't like encourage. We should try to get around it, get over it. So that being said, I do think that what I've seen is that, going back to some of the like Sage's videos that we talked about, I recall him presenting certain arguments or certain scans, right, of translations of this data book or other data books, and essentially being like, here is the scan, here it is, it's fine, nothing wrong with it, moving on. But then scans for counter arguments would be presented, and he would be like, no, this is why this is wrong. I had this translated, I scrutinized it, I went down and broke down every individual character. This is what this means, this is what that means, right? So I think that it might indeed have been the case that all that assessment was correct, that the fan translation was 100% correct. But I think it's important to try to remind ourselves and try to hold ourselves up to that standard of like, we should apply the same level of scrutiny to anything that we're curious about, that we want to learn more about, right? Like, we should be willing to investigate both the things that seem to confirm our preconceived notions as well as challenge them if we really want to get to the truth. And it sucks because it can be frustrating, it can require a lot more effort, but I think it's necessary if you want to genuinely get to understand something, right? I think that's pretty fair. Cloak of Invisibility technique. it's not even really a technique. A not at all efficient technique where you cover up with a cloak. It's a technique Konohamaru used to follow Naruto. It consists in covering oneself with a cloak with similar color and texture to its surroundings to hide one's very presence. The technique is used in intelligence operations or to prepare ambushes. The better the ninja who performs it, the more effective the camouflage, which isn't Konohamaru's case. The fence's texture and cloaks are too different. It's obvious he'd be found out. Okay, this is a little bit jokey, but overall, relatively straightforward description of what happens. Shadow Shuriken technique, Kage Shuriken no Jutsu. An unexpected assault coming from a blind spot. It's an extremely simple jutsu, debatable, where two shuriken are piled onto one another and thrown simultaneously. However, depending on the way it's used, it can prove its absolute efficiency. A little bit of an exaggerated, or like a colorful phrase there. The trick is to somehow draw the enemy's attention towards the upper shuriken, then to deal with the path of the lower shuriken. If the enemy notices both shuriken, the technique ends up losing all of its efficiency. Not necessarily true, because if you combine it with something else, it can still be effective, as we see in the Zabuza fight, right? Sasuke is pulling off an advanced Shadow Shuriken with this here Shadow Windmill. Sure. But it doesn't lose all of its efficiency. And then let's end with this one, because this is a great example of some hyperbolic language. Shadow of the Dancing Leaf, the perfect dance of pursuit no one escapes from. A jutsu where one follows the opponent closely, matching their body's movement, just like a leaf that dances in the air is followed by its shadow. Okay, so we have exaggerated language. We also have colorful, metaphorical language describing it as a dance. Exaggeration in terms of the no one escapes from. Just like a leaf that dances in the air is a simile. This move by itself is harmless, but is usable as a stepping stone for many great powerful jutsu like Front Lotus and so forth. That said, it also has a rather high degree of difficulty, and by the looks of things, those among the getting class who can manage a flawless use of the high-grade taijutsu would be the likes of Lee, Sasuke, or Neji. At that point, Lee physically restrains the opponent by binding them and switch to Front Lotus. So again, mixture of hype language, colorful language, mixed in with not so colorful language. There's nuance here. So I'm very tired and very hungry, so I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight. That being said, we have just barely started scratching the surface of this entry, right? Of this data book. So depending on how people feel, next time we can start talking about Databook 2, but I think it would make sense to at least do like maybe a speed run and go through here and look at some of these things, right? Because there's still a lot to cover. And like I mentioned before with my document when I was like keeping track of the jutsu and stuff, like the last time that I ran through this, granted it's not perfect, I should do this again, right? But I found potential hyperbole for like Fang Passing Fang, Blade of Wind, Dragon Fire, Body Replacement Technique. There's a lot of stuff here that contains language that I think is worth talking about, right? Destroying everything in its path, Lion's Roar, calling upon a storm, shit like that, right? So there's a lot more to talk about, and we will talk about that more. But for tonight, yeah, I think I'm gonna go get something to eat. Let me just check up on chat real quick. Gun Devil canonically at least Mach 500-ish, that makes sense. Billions of times FTL. Oh my god, dude. I actually want to hear that argument. That's genuinely intriguing. It could be that the 8th gate does too much damage for the clones to last, but maybe for like a second or two they could. That's possible. When the second shuriken is a guy, it can be... Oh, yeah, exactly. That's an important little wrinkle there for sure. Actually, that's a simile, not a metaphor. I thought I said simile. Didn't I say simile? But yeah, fair. I don't mind that stuff being called out, genuinely. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody who's engaged in the discussion. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions or things you want me to delve into more specifically for the next stream, I think I'm basically going to be doing this for the next few streams until we've at least touched a little bit on all the data books. And then, you know, once I get through my work sprint, I keep saying by the end of this month, probably by the end of June, honestly, it'll take me to finish the edited video. But this is great because it kind of helps me notice new things and put me in the mindset and gets people asking questions. So all this is leading into another produced video, which I'll get to as soon as I can, genuinely. How about No says, no, it won't let the enemy escape. Not, it's impossible to escape. Yeah, that's an important nuance there. Not the same thing at all. You're right. Okay, yeah, I'm headed out. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.